It being 5 o'clock, the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of July 25th, 2017 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carlene, can you please call roll?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Jones. Here. Ms. Sposito.
Here.
Mr. Grow. Here. Mr. Melvin. Here. Mr. Bourgeois is out of town on military duty. Mr. Perilou is out of town. Mr. Otan. Here. Mr. Lafont. Here. Mr. Lorraine. Here. And Mr. Cantrell. Here.
We'll have Councilman Grow do the invocation and Councilman Melvin do the pledge.
We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect Lafourche Parish. We ask this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody please continue to stand, I'd like a moment of silence. We had our fire chief down the by, and I think we acknowledged, but his daughter's here today, so we could just give a moment of silence for him. I appreciate it. And that was Mr. Freddie Gidry. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Approval of minutes. Motion to accept the minutes of the July 11, 2017 regular session. Moved by Councilman Grow. Second by Councilman Melvin. Any omissions, deletions, or additions? All in favor? All opposed? 7 yeas. 0 nays. 2 absent. That being Mr. Councilman Perilou and Councilman Bourgeois. This evening we're going to have a few deviations. We have a new order of agenda. We're going to have some deviations. Councilman Jones is going to serve as vice chair, and it's going to be a little confusing at times, so bear with us. I need to deviate to 4 and 5 now. I need to public hearing and ordinance for ratification. Need to move by Councilman Jones. Second by Councilman Lafont. Can I get someone to deviate to items 4 and 5?
All in favor.
Oh, sorry. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 702. Need a motion to deviate to items 4 and 5. Councilman Lafont. Second by Councilman Melvin. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 702. Number 4, ordinance rescinding ordinance number 5893 that levied and imposed taxes for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Recreation District number 11, rolling forward. Moved by Councilman Lorraine. Can I get a second? Second by Councilman Otan. All in favor?
I got a question. We got to ask the audience.
Oops. Public
3
one
times.
time, 2 times, 3 times. Mr. Lafont?
Yeah, what are we rescinding this one for, Daniel? Can you explain?
You were sending these 2 because they weren't done right, and you got 2 more at the end to do it right.
All right, what was wrong with them?
I have no idea.
Somebody give me an answer on that? I didn't.
Mr. Lafont, I can answer that for you. When they were presented originally, they both should have been voted in favor of. And instead, the 2 that tonight, they're being presented tonight, that were elected to roll forward or voted on to roll forward, when the stays came up, they should have been actually voted on as in favor of as well, instead of pulled.
Can you explain that? That didn't. So they voted on them and they voted no on them last time?
Well, they pulled them.
Oh, they were pulled.
Yes, sir, and it should have had a vote on it.
Then why,
Both.
then we shouldn't be rescinding it if they were never voted for.
Well, we're rescinding the roll forwards that were voted in favor of.
All right. Think I understand.
We need to move it to a vote. All in favor? Opposed? 702. Number 5, ordinance rescinding ordinance number 5894 that levied and imposed taxes for 2017 on all the properties subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Special District Number 1, rolling forward. Moved by Daniel Lorraine. Second. Second by Councilman Otan. Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Anyone from the council? All in favor? Opposed? 702. A motion to move to the regular agenda. Moved by Councilman Jones. Second by Councilman Grow. All in favor? Opposed? 702. Okay. No, I need to deviate. Can I get someone to deviate to public wishing to address the council? We have the sheriff here, and we don't need to. Councilman Lorraine. Second, Councilman Melvin. All in favor? Opposed? 702. Motion to move to public wishing to address the council. We have 3 people. Just before I move on, anyone from 2017 millages would like to speak now?
Sheriff Craig Weber, if you'd approach the podium, Sheriff. State your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
I've already given mine, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you need to turn it on.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the council. My name is Craig Weber. My address is 200 Canal Boulevard, Thibodaux, Louisiana. I appreciate the opportunity to be taken out of order and to address you on item number 10 on your agenda with respect to traffic calming devices. And Major Grow, who I know you recognize from attending meetings previous, is handing out some very simple statistical information. In the 25-plus years that I've had the honor of serving as sheriff, I have probably appeared before this council and other councils more on this single topic than any other topic. And I have appeared because I have continuously and continue to be a strong advocate for the proper use of traffic calming devices as a safe, affordable, and efficient and effective way of addressing one of the #1 concerns that we hear in our parish. And it's not unique to Lafourche. If you look at any parish or city and you ask them to run a statistical analysis of their calls for service, more than likely the #1 call will be barking dogs or animal complaints, and that'll be followed by speeding complaints. And people who live in subdivisions are rightfully concerned about traffic maintaining their speed. Now, we do an aggressive enforcement of speeding, but any enforcement of speeding has only a short-term effect. Whether it's the state police working US 90, or the sheriff's office working a subdivision, or the city police working wherever they're working. As long as the officer is there, the people will maintain the speed limit and for a short period after. And it's unrealistic to believe that you would have enough officers to adequately enforce speeding on every street for as long as is necessary. So back in 2008, I approached the then council and asked that they would adopt the traffic calming ordinance structure that Lafayette had used. And the process is pretty straightforward. If people are interested, they make a request. Once the request is made, the sheriff's office takes on the lion's share of the work. We do the analysis that's required by the ordinance, we do the survey, and then we complete the packet, and then we present it either to the council for consideration as a street that has met the requirements, or if it doesn't meet the requirements, we present it as well. If you look at the little chart, you'll see that since that time, we've documented 59 total requests, and we've completed 50 surveys. There are 9 that are pending, and they're pending because several years ago, the second to last time I think I addressed the council decided to defund the program. And I'm so committed now as I was then that when we initiated the ordinance back in 2008 or 2009, I agreed to a cost sharing with the parish council on a dollar for basis up to a maximum of $50,000 per year. And I've continued to budget that amount. But for whatever reason at that time, the parish chose to defund the program. So there are 9 pending requests because there's no longer a process for the speed bumps to get installed and approved. But of the 50 requests that were completed, 10 of them did not meet the criteria, 34 of them did. In 4 cases, speed humps were removed. And you can see in 2017 thus far, we've had 3 requests, in 2016, 1, and 2015, 2. So I'm here to speak in favor of the ordinance and encourage the council to reconsider their position and to assist in moving forward with reinstituting speed bumps. And you also look at the second document following the graph or the chart, and it has the various streets with as much information as we can decipher as to which streets have it, don't have it, when they got it, and so on and so forth. So with that, if there are any questions, I'd be glad to try to respond to them. Councilman Lorraine?
So you for
Councilman
leaving
Lorraine?
it, you for leaving it the way it is?
In what respect?
The way the ordinance is today, not changing it or not making it lighter or, because
The ordinance that's up for proposal is one that would, if I understand correctly, refund the existing process and authorize the council to have the authority to issue speed bumps on their own? Can you clarify? Because
I just thought there was some changes that are trying to be made to modify it. I think
Yes. There is extenuating circumstances.
there is, huh?
Mr. Jones, can you take over the meeting?
You got a question, Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I just think that there's some an ordinance up here to modify it. And I think that no matter when you got something you want to do and you have a criteria, you should follow the criteria. If we're going to start bending the rules for everybody, you're going to have a problem. Parish ain't going to have enough money to put speed humps out there.
Ms. Esposito?
This still has to come before the council. We have variances on a lot of different areas, and ordinances are made to be amended. This gives roads that have extenuating circumstances, and on the agenda today, I know Sheriff Weber is familiar with the 2 roads that are on the agenda, LaRousse Lane and Bayou Kramer Road. Those, don't meet the criteria, yet there are other problems that make them significantly dangerous to the residents and those that are visiting the area. So my point in trying to amend the current ordinance is that I think that there's problems with it, that we can't get speed bumps as it is in areas that aren't qualified, that don't qualify, and they should. We should be able to get speed bumps in certain areas if there's problems.
Well, I had some that didn't qualify. I had to tell them they couldn't get it.
And that was your prerogative.
Mr. LaFont?
Sheriff, thank you for coming. Appreciate you giving us the time. The parish voted, and I don't remember the date, since I'm on here, since the last time we voted against it, we have voted again to reenact it. There was an ordinance passed. This is just a couple of changes that Councilwoman Esposito would like to make. One was, for instance, is the boat street. It doesn't meet the criteria for length and all that stuff, but it is a dangerous area. So I think that's what we're voting on tonight. And I think Daniel was asking, how do you feel about those changes? So if you could give us a few words on that, we appreciate it.
Sure. I think as a governing body responsible for making decisions with respect to policy, that giving yourself some discretion is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, there are going to be legitimate extenuating circumstances, and maybe some of the ones Daniel had to deny in retrospect could have been improved because They might have been too short for the existing ordinance, or they might have had some other issue, but there are potentially extenuating, like a school or a daycare or something there that you would say, well, this one is unique for this reason. So when you give yourself that discretion, you can look at those extenuating circumstances and you can debate it as a body and then vote on it individually. The flip side to that is if you don't give yourself that discretion, then you have a hard and fast rule and it applies and it is what it is. So I think as a governing body, you have to make that decision. You have to ask yourself, are we prepared to look at a situation that might present unique circumstances? And I am a discretion person. I believe that life is sometimes not always able to be confined and put into a neat little box that you can write a law that addresses every situation, and you should have the ability to have discretion if you want to exercise it. But that's really a decision that you all as a body have to come to conclude.
Mr.
Because
LaFont.
we'll do our process irrespective, and if the process is one that either does not meet the criteria or they don't have the ramifications and they want to use you sort of as an appeal, as an appellate process to say, well, despite the fact that we don't meet the ordinance as it's submitted, here are the reasons we think it's necessary, and then you all are free to debate that. So
Yeah.
I'll just offer that as commentary.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. LaFont?
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Otan?
Yes, my thought was having more discretion. It would be in best interest of not only ourselves, I think, but the community in terms of funding for us and the community. Because, for instance, one street I'm very familiar with is St. Patrick Street in Raceland, and there's either 8 or 9 speed bumps. A large portion of that, there's no residences even in front of them. So it seemed like to me it was way overkill. They should have just been in front of the residents, and if some discretion could have been used there and say, okay, this area here, there are no homes for several blocks here, perhaps we should skip. So I think having some discretion, in my opinion, could be beneficial.
I think you make a good point, too, because we only go through the process, but the installation, I'm not sure if it's handled by parish employees or if it's contracted or not, but I agree there are some streets where it seems like there are way too many and they're in unnecessary places, and you could better utilize those on a different street. So as you move forward and to conserve the funds and to be able to do more, I would encourage whoever is responsible for that to evaluate those streets and say, well, this is where we need them. And also, sometimes place them maybe not directly in front of someone's driveway as opposed to, using some placement strategy and where you locate them.
Mr. Groh?
I just wanted to mention there's also verbiage in there for homeowners associations or an option for residents to be able to pitch in and help fund the bumps too, so, which will help.
Anyone else?
Yeah, one quick thing.
Mr. LaFont?
Mr. Sheriff, and look, thank you for coming, but if y'all can note on y'all computer, East 25th Street, they were approved and they were removed, so they no longer exist on that street. Just make notation, if y'all don't mind. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll turn it back over to Ms. Posito.
Sheriff, I'd like to thank you again for coming. I met with you and some of your staff, and I appreciate you all listening and your willingness to get this program back started again. As you'll see later on, or you may leave by then, we're going to request the parish president help fund it, the parish's match. So I hope that works out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
ZZ Loop. ZZ, I'm going to try. Zamariah? Am I close? Good. Approach the podium, state your name and address for the record, ZZ. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
My name is Zamariah Loop, and I own Zam Swamp Doors. Now, every spring, I do anywhere from 10 to 15,000 kids from around every parish in Louisiana. The speed limit on my street is 20 miles an hour. And they have people that live on my street, and not only that live on my street, but because my street is next to a bayou, come ride down every day at a healthy clip. If one of those kids get run over, you can put all the speed bumps or traffic calming devices you want. My reputation is ruined. The family of the child that got hit is ruined. And it's not only children. In the wintertime, the people come down from Canada and France and Germany If you look at the picture that was presented to you today, both of them, this was on a Wednesday. This is not even a weekend. Weekends are the busiest because people want to bring their families on a swamp tour, you know? They want to bring their kids, they want to do something with them. This is all adults, and half of them are from out of the country, they don't speak English. This road was repaved about 10 to 15 years ago. I don't exactly know when. Not old enough to remember. But we had speed bumps. We had a bunch of signs, and we had painted lines on the road. But speed signs and painted lines on the road doesn't slow people down. Not like a speed bump or a speed table. Now, I'm not in a neighborhood where I see 5 or 6 kids riding their bikes. I'm on a swamp tour. And the difference to me is like the emergency room when somebody goes in with a flu and they have to wait 40 minutes as opposed to somebody that walks in with a broken arm and gets taken right away. It's a state of urgency because I see so many kids, because I see so many people that don't speak English that just walk out in front of the road. Here's what happens when the kids get here. They arrive from a school. They get off the bus on the road. They cross the street to my swamp tour and they get on the boat. They get off the boat, they cross the street to go to the backyard to look at all my alligators and all my ducks and chickens. They cross back across the street to wash their hands in the swamp tour. They cross the street again to go eat lunch in the front yard. And then they cross the street again to get on the bus. So with one field trip, and sometimes I get 2 or 3 a day depending on 40 to 100 kids, that's a high risk, you know?
Any questions? ZZ, thank you for coming out. I know, I just wanted to, I know the pictures aren't great, but that is the street that people are walking on. This isn't, you know, this is the actual street, right?
Like in front of my swamp tour is like the only straight part of this road. Everywhere else is a curve. And if you go fast, you're gonna go in the bias. It just so happens that my swamp tour was built like 400 yards is straight, you know, so people, they take advantage of it, especially when when the water comes up. If everybody that came just to look at the water took a cup of water, I wouldn't be flooding them all. But, you know. So.
Councilman LaFont?
We need your address. You didn't say his address, so she could have it for the record, please.
It's 141 Kramer Bayou Road,
And state your name for the record as well.
Zemariah Loop.
Okay. Good. Okay,
That's it?
thank you, ZZ.
All right. Thank you.
Representative Jerry Truck Gisglaya, if you'd approach the podium. Representative Gisglaya, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
Jerry Gisclair, 157 Bayou Portuguese Drive, La Rose. I'm here to just cover a few issues that were brought up. Talking to Daniel and local councilmen that Highway 3235, we've had some DOTD issues with, I think, drainage. And obviously, I'm not going to get into road safety issues, but I'm here to address or answer any questions that you might have in regards to grass cutting, tree removal. This Friday at 8 o'clock, I'm meeting with Chris Rogers, DOTD HOMA employee, and we're going to go over a list of areas of concern. I'd like to get specific areas that may not have been covered or taken care of. I know when Councilman Lafourche and Lorraine in specific had any issues, they've called my office, and our response is that we call DOTD and hopefully they schedule the remedy to whatever issues are reported. And I'm hoping that they are responsive. They've been responsive to a lot of our calls over the last 10 years that I've been in office. But if there are any specific issues they haven't addressed, I'd like to know. And I'm going to obviously see them Friday face to face. But we had grass cutting issues on LA 308 and got a call from Daniel, when are they going to come cut the grass? And the day he called, the tractors happened to be in the area. So, but I'm here to answer any questions or address any issues or concerns.
Councilman LaFont?
Truck,
Yes.
appreciate you coming, and we spoke on the phone, but 3235 from Golden Meadow to LaRose is horrendous.
Right.
The willow trees have overtaken the drainage canals, which drain pretty much 90% of our residents on that side of the bayou. Another big issue we having with drainage, and Mr. James can infer on this, is that when they made that road, we know anything you built in Louisiana is gonna sink, right? So it's happening, the culverts in the middle of the road, Mr. Truck, they like this when they first started, now they like this. So the two ends on each side and the drainage canals have come up in some places up to 2 feet. So the water's having to get 2 feet higher in the neighborhoods before it can drain out. So those are some of our main issues. And I know you can't cover it all at one time. We on a budget, we on a governor that I don't think spending the money in the right places at the right time. But hopefully you can get us something. We just need some relief, whatever you can help us out with.
Yeah, I know what you're saying about the culverts. The land has settled. You can look at billboards and look at the original slabs, and the billboard pipes are on solid foundation, and the land has receded a foot, 18 inches. So obviously, when they install culverts, there is a foundation that's put underneath the culverts, and I think the culverts themselves, the general area, has not sunk like the adjacent pieces of property. So that creates a big hazard. We had a major overlay project, if you remember how bad it was, from Cutoff to LaRose. That was done a few years back. With the highway priority program, we have to get on the list. And obviously, whenever we have the annual road show, which is done by DOTD district, the road show for District 2, we belong to Bridge City. And that meeting is held in New Orleans, and it's going to be every February, right before session. So it's very important that representatives from the parish show up with specific needs, and Highway 3235 being a corridor to Port Pouchon, that's hopefully puts it high on the priority list. But we need to hear from the parish. We need the officials there, and supporting resolutions from the respective councils would be appropriate.
Councilman Melvin?
Representative Jishka, thank you for being here. I know that my district on Highway 1 ends at 182. However, Mr. Perilou picks up on the other side coming south. There's houses along there that call me for drainage issues. The culverts hadn't been cleaned in a while. I know that the parish can go into agreements with DOTD or with the state to do things, but that would, make a difference for me. Also, just looking forward, and I know it's a money issue, but Percy Brown is growing in leaps and bounds. We're about to have some major changes there, possible commercial developments and things. We're going to have another, we're going to have assisted living built on the corner. We've got 200 apartments going up. I wish they'd have 4-laned it years ago, but that's a state highway. But somebody had mentioned that, that somebody else was in charge of it other than the state. But it is the state that's in charge, correct?
182 is...
well, I mean, 182, I'm talking about Percy Brown.
Percy Brown, that's... If it's not a state highway, then obviously it's got to be a parish road, but I don't know if it has a state number on it.
Okay, I'm going to double check. I thought it was state, but I'll see. Yeah, state. Yeah. So that's just two things off the top of my head.
And again, I don't mind receiving calls for if it's Representative D. Richard's district. We operate as a region, and I don't mind making calls on their behalf, but always let the respective rep know that, hey, we have an issue.
Right.
You want me to call it in, and we handle it.
I'll talk to D as well, but appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Truck. Every year it's the same thing when it comes to the grass. Parish has the same problem, and Shows that it's a big area that you got to take care of, and I could understand that, and I get probably just as many calls as you get. And one thing I can say, every time I've called you, you've called me back. So that's a good sign. And as far as the 3235, you got another bad section there. And over the years that I've been there, that road used to be real high at one time, but it sank a lot, I can tell you that.
Right.
But there's always a problem with the drainage, because I could remember when they were doing the road, they were around the Walmart, it was shells at that time. I went meet with the highway department, and I told them all those covers y'all put them too high. And then now they all flapped up, the bulk of them. So once in a while, you're going to get one that's in the right place, but not too often. But if you're meeting Friday, I'm going to be there. I'll call you and all. But I want to also touch on something that I saw you in action, and I think you did a hell of a job. When we went to Baton Rouge, we had the sheriff, Wendy Thibodeau, parish president, Bo Melvin, and myself. And there was on Senate Bill 61. That was the one that Island was trying to pass, in which this council passed a resolution opposing it. And let me tell you what, he worked hard. He was on the floor trying to hustle up votes, and we couldn't get in the floor. We were on the floor too, but we couldn't get in where he was at, because he's a senator. He was passing all them representatives one by one. But when it came to vote, Truck, I got to tell you, you took on that guy that was co-sponsoring that bill. I don't remember his name. I think it was from Iberia.
Blake Miguez.
Well, you pretty much put him in his place. And I think he did a good job. And when they lit up the votes, I think we were looking for about 30. And how many did we get? Almost
70,
almost all of
80,
them.
yeah. It was a good turnout for the parish, but, that was a good lobbying effort by everybody that was there. And it is intimidating when a senator is allowed to roam the House floor when one of his bills are coming up for a vote. And, you have 105 members, but I really think the two councilmen, that you and Mr. Melvin being there, and the sheriff, the assessor, and the parish president. There's 105 people. I can't get to all 104 others, but I try. But I think collectively, I think we all did the mission was accomplished for Lafourche Parish. That bill would have passed. Obviously, it would have been detrimental to. It'll kill us.
Right, and then I saw you debating the guy. You handled yourself well, and Sheriff had a lot of contacts, I can tell you that. He was running around with his little paper and scratch this one. Oh, we're not going to talk to this one. He's for it. So that went well. And I got one more question I want to ask you. Do you believe in lobbyists?
Yeah, sometimes you love them, sometimes you hate them, but lobbyists have their positions in the process, and if you have a lobbyist that's lobbying against your bill, I can only do so much in a day, but a lobbyist will try to get to other people either for or against a particular bill. But I do believe in lobbyists. They are effective, but again, it takes, if I've got my mind made up on a bill, for a lobbyist to change my thinking on the bill, they really have to get into the merits of the bill or against the merits. They really have to give me reasons why I should change my philosophy on a particular bill. But I do believe them. They do have their place. And again, some people may think you don't need lobbyists. They're there. They serve their purpose.
And I'm sorry, I did say one more, but I don't know if you're gonna like this question, but I'm gonna ask you, because I got the same problem. What's an update on the LaRose Bridge?
Which one? Intercoastal Bridge?
Yeah,
West LaRose Bridge, I believe I'll get a more definite answer, a definitive answer on Friday, but the end of July, but it's like opening up a can of worms. Do you just turn your head on a problem? And that's been the explanation. They've uncovered so many problems, and they're going to end up spending over $30 million on a bridge that cost $1.5 million to build initially. But to build a bridge like that today or an overpass, we're looking at probably 5 times that cost. So the state is making a big investment in the Intercoastal Bridge. Now, again, they're uncovering problems as they went through the process, and obviously they can't, they're doing a 30-year overhaul, so they're not going to let a problem and let it go and just cover it. They're going to hopefully repair it. A lot of these parts are no longer manufactured, so now they have to go to a foundry, get something made, and I'm glad they're doing what they're doing. I think once it's finished, we're going to have us a bridge hopefully for a long time.
so once again, I thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
Real quick,
Councilman
it's a real quick, easy answer, yes or no. While we can agree that there's some pros and cons to lobbyists, would you also agree that some lobbyists try to ride too many horses and work for too many people?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilman LaFont, you have something else?
One real quick, on that bridge, and it's been a pain in our butts for years now. But can you please make sure they never, ever schedule work on the other bridge while that bridge is being fixed?
I will. When that inspection was underway on the overpass.
And I thank you for shutting it down so quick.
And it took a phone call to the Assistant Secretary, Joshua Hollins, and they're sitting in Baton Rouge. They're not realizing it's one of 2 major arteries out of South Lafourche, and the third one being going to Houma. But sitting in Baton Rouge, I don't think anybody realized that that was going to transpire.
On that note,
yes,
I'll have to say something against it, though. You have the guy that's in charge of the bridges for this region, his house at the foot of that bridge. He knew the schedule. There's no way that should have happened.
and again, I'm not going to sit here covering for anyone, but I really think that the inspection may have been scheduled in anticipation of the work being complete on the other bridge, and the contractor didn't know.
All right.
But I appreciate the question.
Thank you, though. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you all so much.
That's all
Can I-
I have, Madam Chair, at this time.
Okay, can I get a motion to move back to regular agenda?
Move.
Moved by Councilman Grow, second by Councilman Jones. All in favor? Opposed? 702. Item number 2, ordinance to rename the Matthews Government Complex the Lindell Toops Matthews Government Complex. Councilman Daniel Lorraine. Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Can I get a second? Item dies for lack of a second. Number 3, ordinance to accept the subdivision known as LPHA subdivision Phase 1 into the parish system. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, he's not here. Anyone wants to move for him? Moved by Councilman. Move. Oh, did I ask what? Moved by Councilman Lafont, second by Councilman Grow. Any comment from the public? 1 time? 2 times? 3 times? Discussion from the council? Councilman Lafont?
I move just so we can get it over with, but I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen put on the agenda, especially in my district or business that's employs a lot of people. And we have one of them sitting right here, Mr. Buster Very, who's a reporter. They give out over 15,000 free newspapers to the people of Lafourche. Oh, that's the wrong one. I'm looking, my bad. Oh, I was thinking that was number 3, my bad. Watch, people, I'm gonna put my glasses on.
Okay, you done, Councilman LaFawnduh? You have another one, something else with that one?
No, that's good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 702. Number 6, ordinance
I
providing.
want to defer number 6 till next meeting.
Okay. Do you have a date? Ms. Carlene's checking the date.
A.
Item number 6 deferred to August 8th. Number 7, ordinance provided for 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-027 within the 2017 operation and maintenance budget to cover the emergency removal of the Chevron Bridge with an estimated cost of $450,000 and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second.
I second.
Second by Councilman LaFont. Comments from the audience? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Discussion from the council?
Yeah, I'd like to let Mr. James and Aaron explain what's going on.
Mr. Barnes?
We're gonna let Aaron speak for just a minute, and then I'm gonna speak.
Aaron, name and address for the record, please.
Aaron Frymore, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews. I shared everything at last meeting. Nothing has changed other than the pressure from the Coast Guard to get this removed is still there. So, anybody has any questions for me?
I got a question.
Go ahead.
If the parish doesn't take any action, will they take action?
They will go through the legal procedures to enforce the parish to.
That'd be similar to the
Fines.
Choctaw levy. There's a possibility where we can be fined. Okay.
Any other discussion from the council? Councilman Grow?
I don't think anybody's arguing that the bridge doesn't need to be removed. I think that's pretty obvious. It's just where the money's coming from. And I guess my question is, what's the time frame? I remember at one meeting there was, we understand that there's maybe Chevron on the other side and Port of New Orleans is different. New Orleans owns some of it, and then the Wisners or something.
Right.
How fast do they need this removed once it's done? Because there was some talk about getting maybe Chevron some time.
The
make
timeline,
alternative plans.
we spoke with Chevron, this was probably, where are we at, July? This was back in May, and they asked for at least 5 months. I mean, now we're a month, 2 months past that. The timeline that the engineer gave us as far as getting this taken care of would be about 30 days for plans, 60 days for bidding, so right there is 3 months. And then once the contract is signed, so you're looking at another 5 to 6 months, I would estimate. But this would put the money there, and then we also got to wait another 2 weeks to do the resolution for the contract. So we're still another 5 to 6 months out, which gives Chevron plenty of time to prepare for that. That's more than what they've asked for.
Do you know, so they're going to barge people to work?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Obviously, we need another bridge eventually. I mean, is there talks with the Wisners or New Orleans about cooperative endeavor about getting another bridge, or property owners on that side?
As far as the parish's position is, we have no, as far as the beach, everybody knows the situation with the beach. There's no public access or purpose on the other side other than the businesses. I do know in the long-term scheme of things with the Port Commission, there's a possibility of putting a bridge inside the port when they expand. But as far as the parish providing another bridge to go to the beach, which was the original purpose of this, I don't see any plan in the foreseeable future, because to replace a bridge like that would be, we were estimating about 11 to 15 million.
Okay. And the bridge there now was moved from up the bayou?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any reason, I guess administration would have to answer, we need to move it out of BP versus road sales tax too?
Mr. Himmel?
Yes, as far as funds available to keep us in a safe zone as far as having money set aside for bond payments and whatnot for next year, we're trying to keep a certain balance in road sales tax District 2. Currently, we're at 2.6 million in that account. You can use about 1.8, I would say, to keep us safe. That'll keep us about 800,000 in it, which will help cover, for one, the bond payments, for two, the shortfall in what we have in sales tax collected. For instance, if you take an average of the lesser amount that we're collecting than what we budgeted, we're going to end up about $350,000 short of what we budgeted. So in other words, that 2.6 million that we have sitting in it, you got to take off 350,000.
Mr. Barnes? Or you had more, Mr.
Yes.
Himmel?
So is the money there? Yes. We also have a few councilmen and Mr. James discussing using that for road sale, for phase 4L. I think
4L,
yeah.
phase 1 of 4L.
Phase 1 and 4L for this year. So it's just a matter of making a decision on where you want to spend the money. But is the money in there to cover this? Yes, it is, but it's a decision, I guess, for council to make as where you want to spend the money.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes, I'd just like to reiterate, DPW, we don't have the choice of where the funds come from, but from the standpoint of the bridge and it having to be removed, if this keeps getting delayed, you know, we stand the possibility of winding up just like the levee in Choctaw, getting fined and legal litigation. So we don't control the funding, but I'm just letting y'all know that this is a push from the Coast Guard to get this moving.
Councilman Grow?
I don't think anybody's arguing that it needs to be removed, like I said earlier. And I did some checking up. We moved some money from BP for derelict vessels. I think it's 200,000? Yeah. So we have moved money out of BP already. And just like this bridge needing to come down, derelict vessels need to come out the bayou too. Is there a way to do a shared cost with the road sales tax too?
Mr. Jimmy?
Well, I think it's up to y'all, how y'all want to handle it as a council. You know, where the money comes from is up to the council.
And it might be a question for the council members over there, you know, I mean, that have road sales tax too. I mean, if y'all could answer.
Councilman LaFont?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we were told we had $3.5, almost $4 million to spend on roads. We had a project that we were going to do. We got some roads that are in bad shape. Then not long after, I was approached that we needed to cut back. I cut $1 million out of my district on roads that needed to be done. Each one of these councilmen had to cut back. We just got an email today that we need to cut an additional funding. So I'm going to ask where all the money's at. But like Daniel said earlier, and we have spent millions and millions out of the road sales tax on bridges. You guys don't have to take that expense on in y'all districts. We do. This bridge has to be removed. It's fixing to come down. We're going to get fined by the Coast Guard, just like we're fixing to get hit in Chack Bay. And we reacted to Chack Bay. We trying to get it done right. The bridge needs to be removed. It needs to be removed soon. I got a phone call from Mr. Dan Roberts this week, who's a local guy that has a camp. He sells bait. He passes on that bridge every day. He told me just this week 2 more boards fell out. The support boards that hold the base of the bridge are falling and collapsing. So if we hold this up any longer, that bridge falls in, that $500,000, it costs about $1.5 million, and we have to do it right away. That's the concern. We already taken money out and spend it on lots of bridges. Not that we don't spend money on bridges in the road sales tax district. We went above and beyond spending on bridges. BP's, I think BP's a good thing. It's part of the beach. Talking with the Port Commission, they plan on building a bridge in the future. When, they're not sure, but they want to build a bridge. Hopefully they can work out some kind of negotiations with the landowners on the other side and start putting businesses on that side. That's their dream. And if that happens, look, guys, this parish is gonna just blow up. They want to do shipping containers on that part of the beach if eventually. So it just needs to be done. I'm asking for y'all's support.
Anyone else? Call it to the vote. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed? Who's opposed? Councilman Otan? Councilman Jones?
5 yeas, 2 nays, 2 absent. 2 nays would be Jones and Lieutenant.
So it's 5, 2, and 2.
Passes.
Passes 5-2. Number 8, ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-025 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to carry forward the balance budgeted for cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Louisiana Rehabilitation Services for summer youth, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transaction as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine. Second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Lafont. Any comment from the audience? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Discussion from the council. Mr. Lafont?
No,
Let's call it to a vote. All in favor? Opposed? And I abstain. So that is the number.
7 yeas, 0 nays, 0 absent, and 1 abstention.
6 yeas.
7 yeas, 0 nays. 6 yeas, 0 nays.
6 yeas, 0 nays, 2 absent, and 1 abstention.
And abstention being you.
An abstention being myself. Number 9, ordinance establishing a do not distribute in my yard list for the parish of Lafourche, state of Louisiana, and providing penalties for the violation thereof. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois. Someone want to move for him?
I'll move.
Moved by Councilman Lafont, second by Councilman Grow. Any
Wait,
discussion
let
from?
me ask, did he ask anybody to defer once again? Call any of y'all, ask y'all to defer? Dan?
Any discussion from the audience? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Discussion from the council, Mr. Lafont?
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I got a business in my district that their livelihood and the people that work for them depend on distributing newspapers. So I'm not in support of it. You know, I just think it's a crazy bill. I'm voting against it. I ask y'all to vote against it also.
Councilman Melvin?
I'm going to vote against it as well. I just thought we were going to defer it in case you wanted to defend it or tell us what the reasoning is behind this. It's just...
Okay, let's call it to a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Nay.
All nays, raise your hand.
It's 7-0.
0 nays.
0-7-2. It fails, 0-7-2.
Fails.
Okay, we can begin the next section, but at 6 o'clock we have to, we'll have to close,
We need to close the
motion by, I need a motion to close this. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Grow. Close public hearing. All in favor? All in favor? Opposed? Close, 7-0-2. Okay, as I was saying, at 6 o'clock, we have to go to another public hearing, so we can begin. Well, let's just take
We'll take a 5-minute,
let's take a 5-minute break.
5-minute break.
We got to be back for 6, though, to start a public hearing.
Nobody wants to leave. It's time, you gotta go.
Calling meeting back to order. I need a motion to deviate to item number M, letter M, moved by Councilman Lafont.
The public hearing for the villages at 6 o'clock.
Second? Second by Councilman Grow.
All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed? Passes 7-0.
1, 2,
Two.
3,
Oh,
4, 5, 6.
6-0-2,
6 yeas,
with,
0 nays,
with Councilman Lorraine being out of the room.
2 absent and 1 out of the room, being Daniel Lorraine. Exactly. Item M.
M, 2017 millages, public hearing and public meeting at 6 p.m. I need a motion. Moved by Councilman Grow, second by Councilman Jones, to open a public hearing and public meeting for the 2017 millages. Number 36, discuss levying the same 2017 millage rates as the prior year for the following. Recreation District Number 1.
11.
Oh, number 11. Comments from the public? 1 time? 2 times? 3 times? Comments from the council? Being none?
Special service,
Special Services District Number 2.
number 1.
Jeez. Special Services District Number 1. Any comments from the public? 1 time? 2 times? 3 times? Any discussion from the council?
Motion 5, no, closed.
Need a motion to close? Moved by Councilman Grow, second by Councilman Jones, to close the public hearing and public meeting for the 2017 millages.
All in favor?
All in favor? Opposed?
7.
7-0-2. I need a motion to, no, wait, oh no, let's have another public hearing. And public hearing and public meeting ordinance for ratification, and a voice roll call. A voice roll call vote must be taken on each ordinance. On the final signed copy of each ordinance, each council member's name shall be noted as to which way voted next to yeas, nays, abstained, or absent. Need a motion? Moved by Councilman Jones, second. Councilman Melvin, to open the public hearing and public meeting. Number 37, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche. Lafourche Recreation District Number 11. Moved by Councilman Lorraine. Second. Second by Councilman Grow. Comments from the public? 1 time? 2 times? 3 times? Discussion from the council? Let's move it to a vote.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call, Ms. Carleen.
Mr. Jones?
Yay.
Mr. Grow?
Yay.
Ms. Posito?
Yay.
Mr. Melvin?
Yay.
Mr. Otan? Mr. Lafont? Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah.
Passes 7-0-2. Number 38, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Special Service District Number 1. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Councilman Lafont. Ms. Carleen, roll call.
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Public 1 time. 2
Oh,
times,
shoot.
3 times.
Public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times.
Any council?
Discussion from the council. Ms. Carleen, could you do a roll call?
Mr. Jones? Mr. Grow? Ms. Posito?
Yay.
Mr. Melvin? Mr. Otan? Mr. Lafont? Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, 400%.
Passes 7-0-2. Motion to close. Councilman Grow, second by Councilman Melvin, to close public meeting and public hearing. Oh, 2017 millages, public hearing and public meeting at 6 PM. Motion? Moved by Councilman Jones, second. Second by Councilman Grow to open a public hearing and public meeting for the 2017 millages. 39, discuss levying rolling forward 2017 millage rates for the following. Recreation District Number 11. Public comment one time, 2 times, 3 times. Discussion from the council. Oh. No. Special Service District Number 1. Comments from the public, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Discussion from the council. Motion to close. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman O-Town. Close public hearing, public meeting for 2017. All in favor? Opposed? Passes 702. P, public hearing and public meeting and ordinance for ratification. A voice roll call. A vote must be taken on each ordinance. On the final signed copy of each ordinance, each council member's name shall be noted as to which way voted next to yeas, nays, abstained, or absent. Motion to open. Councilman Lafont, second. Second by Councilman Jones. All in favor? Opposed? Passed 702. Number 40, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Recreation District Number 11. Rolling forward, moved by Councilman Lorraine. Can I get a second? Second by Councilman O-Town. Roll call, Ms. Carleen.
Mr. Jones?
Sure, I'm hearing this right. Why are we rolling theirs forward and not everybody else's that we, last time? Anybody answer that? Anybody here from Recreation District?
I got the answer. I got the answer.
Anybody here can answer?
Councilman Melvin, you know?
Talking about Recreation District 11?
Yeah,
Okay, that's Bayou Blue?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, they missed it, so we're not, what I was told at that meeting when we did this, they lost their millage. So we're not rolling it up from what it was, we're putting it back where it was. That's all that's doing as far as my knowledge, Recreation District out of Bayou Blue. So we're not increasing the tax, we're just putting it back to where it was.
Well, then we voted a little while ago to put it back where it was, and now we're voting to roll forward. This is an increase. Am I correct?
Mr.
The
Himmel,
way it
could
looks
you-
to me on
could you
paper
respond
is the
to
first
this?
time was voting to what, at the current rate. This one looks like it's a roll forward. To me, when you say roll forward, you increase in some kind of fund.
You may be correct, sir, I apologize, yeah.
Yeah, but according to what the guy said, they're rolling it forward to catch up what they were behind in the year before, right?
So
That's not what he said when he came to the podium?
Mr. Himmel, could you explain?
I was not here for that meeting to.
And the reason I'm asking
speak
is,
for him.
this, if you're gonna roll forward, you know, the federal government, if
Don't
they
ask
say
again.
that well, I'm gonna use the state. The state had a budget shortfall of $1 billion this year, right? Are we gonna allow the state to roll forward to get a $2 billion next year and double tax the people? Is that how it works? I don't know. I'm just asking if that's the same thing here. If they didn't get enough last time, that mean that they just didn't sell enough in that district.
Mr. Jimmy, do you or Mr. Haas want to comment on this? Explain anything further?
I know one thing, in Bayou Blue, on the Lafourche Parish side of Bayou Blue, there's a lot of new homes going up, a lot of new development. Am I correct in saying that? A lot of new development, so their tax base is gonna go up. Do we need a roll of millage up on somebody that's getting more homes?
Mr. Cantrell?
I think Daniel said it right. I think it was dropped by some kind of reason. It was put off the roll. and to catch up, that's why they're rolling it forward, so they can be where they were before. That's my understanding, and I don't know if that's correct, but that was my understanding.
The sad part is that you would think the people in that district or somebody on that representative board would have been here tonight to explain things when they know that they might have a chance of losing their tax again.
Let me ask again, public
know-
comment, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Mr. LaFont, you have anything else?
It's a little different, the special service district, I understand, that area's not growing, they got more needs, they got more kids they taking in, it's a little different thing. I just don't understand, if somebody would have been here to explain it, then we could have voted on it.
You have something else, Mr. LaFont? Let's call it to a vote. All in favor? Oops. Oh, sorry, roll call.
Mr. Jones? Mr. Grow?
Yay.
Ms. Posito?
Yay.
Mr. Melvin? Mr. Otan? Mr. LaFont? And Mr. Lorraine?
Yes.
It passes.
Passes 5-2-2. Number 41, ordinance levying and imposing taxes for 2017 on all the property subject to taxation in the parish of Lafourche, Special Service District Number 1, rolling forward, moved by Councilman Lorraine. Get a motion? A second? Can I get a second? Councilman Grow? Public 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? Discussion from the council? Roll call, Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Jones? Sir? Mr. Grow?
Yay.
Ms. Posito?
Yay.
Mr. Melvin? Mr. Otan? Mr. LaFont? And Mr. Lorraine?
Yay.
Passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 2 ayes.
702. Councilman LaFont, second. Councilman Jones, all in favor? Opposed? Opposed? 702. Motion to return to regular agenda. Moved by Councilman LaFont, second by Councilman Jones, all in favor? Opposed? Passes 702.
Okay?
Resolutions.
No ordinances, proposed ordinances next.
Oh, proposed ordinance.
Yeah. Okay. You ready?
Ms. Carleen, could you read proposed
C,
ordinance?
C, proposed ordinances. Number 10, proposed ordinance amending ordinance 4432 and amending and reenacting traffic, Division 4 Traffic, Section 4097 Traffic Calming Policies and Procedures of Chapter 40 Traffic of the Code of Ordinances for the Lafourche Parish Council as it pertains to those streets, roads, lanes exempt from meeting the criteria necessary for the installation of traffic calming devices due to extenuating circumstances and installation of traffic calming devices. Moved by Ms. Posito. So moved. Number 11, proposed ordinance amending ordinance 1628, changing the speed limit from 20 miles per hour to 15 miles per hour on Kramer Bayou Road in Kramer, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of speed limit and speed check by radar signs, and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Ms. Posito. Number 12, proposed ordinance requesting that traffic calming devices and the appropriate signage be installed on LaRousse Lane, Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, under the rules of exemption due to extenuating circumstances. Moved by Ms. Posito. Number 13, proposed ordinance requesting traffic calming devices and the appropriate signage be installed on Kramer Bayou Road, Kramer, Louisiana, Ward 6, District 2, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, under the rule of exemption due to extenuating circumstances. Moved by Ms. Posito. Number 14, proposed ordinance providing a variance from the Lafourche Parish subdivision regulations, Chapter 22, Article 6, Division 3, Roads, Section 22-409B, to allow the cross street in the proposed subdivision to line up with the cross street in the adjacent subdivision in the Old Town Subdivision Phase 1, as recommended by the Lafourche Parish Planning Commission at their June 29, 2017 meeting. Moved by Mr. Jones. Number 15, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-022 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase revenue and expenses for recreation districts 1, 2, 4, 8, and 11 that were not previously included in the 2017 operations and maintenance budget, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Can someone move that for Mr. Bourgeois? Mr. Lorraine? Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Number 16, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-026 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to increase Fund 123 Civil Defense to cover a contract between the State of Louisiana, Department of Health, and Lafourche Parish Government for a community readiness 08061 with an effective date of April 1st, 2017 through July 1st through 2018, and to correct the carry forward from 2016, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Mr. Lorraine. Number 17, proposed ordinance providing for a 2017 supplemental appropriation 17-024 within the 2017 operations and maintenance budget to deobligate the CDBG Lockport Company Canal South Bank Project 11026 and to deobligate the CDBG Laurel Valley Project 06007, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Ms. Sposito. Number 18, proposed ordinance approving the holding of an election in 5th Ward Gravity Drainage District Number 5 of the Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, on Saturday, November 18, 2017, to authorize the levy of a special tax therein. Moved by Ms. Sposito and Mr. Grow. Ms. Sposito, ask if there's anybody here that would like to speak on that.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak on that? Item number 19?
18.
18?
Okay. Number 19, proposed ordinance amending and reenacting Chapter 44, Vehicles for Hire of the Lafourche Parish Code of Ordinances in its entirety to enact new provisions regarding the transportation network services in Lafourche Parish and to address other matters relative hereto, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Ms. Sposito. Proposed ordinance ordering and calling special elections to be held in the parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, and Road District Number 1 of the parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, to authorize the levy of special taxes therein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connection therewith. Can somebody move for Mr. Bourgeois? Moved by Mr. Lorraine. And that's it, Madam Chairman. No, just go to
D, resolutions. 21, resolution approving amendment number 6 to the application for funding for the project entitled Thibodeau Government Complex, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois and Otan. Well, just Otan. Deferred from 7/11/17 meeting. Any discussion from council? Oh, I need a second. Did I have a second? Oh, Councilman Gross, second. Any discussion from the council? Councilman Gross?
I just wanted to thank Adam for preparing. I went and met with Adam after the last meeting to find out more about this, and I just wanted to thank him for putting together that PowerPoint. I think it lays everything out on why administration's asking us to do this, and I just wanted to thank him. I think it was very thorough, and it has everything we needed to make our decision.
Anyone else? Oh, Councilman Jones?
Yeah, I'd just like to ask Adam, what can we do with this money? It's $233,861 we got.
Name and address for the record, Adam.
Hi, Adam Lafourche, 402 Green Street, Thibodeau. Mr. Jones, the money can go to any CDBG project in the Gustav Ike that is open currently. The reason Lockport Community Center was chosen was because it is the only one as of now that is under budget, and the other ones we are expecting to be over budget. So we don't want to put the money into a project and to have to, in the end, reallocate it again.
What can we do with the money we got?
Mike.
What can we do with the money we got? $233,861 in the Thibodeau complex.
In the Thibodeau complex?
Right.
As of now, really, there's no moving forward with it, mainly because of the deadline. We're on a third extension, and what was proposed in the original grant was floors 1 and 3, and it was for basic cosmetics, which was repainting walls, floors, and doing ceiling tiles. And in order to be able to spend that, we would have to go through a bid process to hire a contractor, go through the selection, and then go to council, put up an ordinance, and then be a supplemental and then voted on. So that would take a 3 to 4 month process just to do that, and the state is ready to move forward with the spending of these funds, and they have been lenient on us with all of the changes in administration and with our department, but they're now getting pressure to move forward because it's been so long.
Adam, you got an original bid here for $349,914.04. So it looked like we already had somebody in place.
That was for the architect.
Right.
So the architect was hired by us, but in order to spend the money, we have to hire a contractor. And since that is by grant funds, it has to go through the bid process.
We do know that. But that money would be more efficient in a Thibodeau complex than putting it on wetland. And the state, this has been amended several times.
Yes.
But I can't see taking this money out of the Thibodeau complex and putting it in a project that never got off the ground. Not even shovel ready.
It's not shovel ready, but there is cost associated with it that we are dealing with. With the state, they need money spent soon. Any kind of funds being pulled down. In order to get this moving forward, it would take 3 to 4 months to even have one kind of invoice to be drawn in. But they're at a delay, and they can't wait 4 months to have any kind of funds without any action taken. They need some sort of action soon, because if we do want to move forward with this project, if we would have to come back again with another resolution to approve Amendment 6 to move forward with the project, to add supplemental funds, which would take another month to do before we can even go forward with a contract, a bid process for a contractor. Because the time frame is already extended too long, and the state can't wait any longer.
Well, if they're going to extend it to bring it to a project that's not even started, don't you think it'll be waiting longer?
The funds can be spent quicker with the Lockport Community Center because we have A&E services that are paid for, we have contracts, and we have land and all that we can put that money towards, which we can only pay for construction with the Thibodeau complex.
Well, that's the point right there. You want to use this money to purchase the land.
Well, not for land, and it's not how we want to use it, it's what it's eligible for.
The Thibodeau complex needs more repairs than anything, so I'm voting against.
Okay, well, can I just, what repairs do you think, or do you suggest that the Thibodeau complex needs? I know you referenced leaks and all from the roof.
Leak and roof.
That, even if the grant does forward, the grant cannot fund that because it was not an approved scope of work for the grant. So that would not even be eligible, so that roof wouldn't be able to be fixed through with this $233,000.
You got a list right here what can be did in that building. Right here.
On page
5.
4 of yours, on the project activity, on the letter, the activities include replacing floor and ceiling tiles, installation of new ceiling tiles, addition of AC ductwork, battery backup, emergency lighting, painting walls, repairing and replacing doors and frames, electrical lighting. That's the only things that are eligible for this grant. The base bid is only fixing floors 1 and 2, and that is not including AC ductwork because it would not in the scope of cost to move forward.
You're saying this grant is, on page 4 is replacing. You can use it to replace that.
To replace all these things.
Air conditioned ducts,
But
ceiling tiles.
you can replace it, but the base bid that was given that falls in that 233 does not include that. All of these that are listed with the rooms, that's mainly floor, tiles, floors, painting of walls, and ceiling tiles.
That is listed with this money, with the grant.
Yes, they had that the base bid, which just falls under, and then there was alternates 1, 2, and 3. 3 included those, but it was too expensive to fall into the grant, so that was not listed as part of it.
Adam, just with the electrical wiring in that building, you take up a lot of this money, just with the electrical wiring. You
But-
got receptacles on the floor.
Yes, but that's not included in the base bid from the architect. It was.
You got activities included in the renovation.
Yes, but these are mainly for the sheetrock flooring. What was approved and what's in the base bid cost estimate are not the same. There's only some of them that are in that.
Councilman Melvin?
Adam, thank you for being here. I know, we're all tasked with some major projects, and appreciate you trying to handle this one properly. But let me ask you a question. Can this be used for floors? Yes.
Yes.
It can?
Yes.
Okay. Can it be used in other parish buildings downtown?
No.
Just this?
Just this one building.
Okay, because I know that there's some other buildings that are in dire need, floors, et cetera, but, so it just seems to me that we've been, moving money all over the place and doing this and doing that and trying not to lose money, but do you know who delayed it and how long ago and why?
Whenever, at the end of the previous administration, they were ready to move forward, and then a new administration came in, and it was a new director of economic development came on, and we were ready to move forward. It was Grayling, and then Grayling left, and then Richard came on, and then Richard stayed, and then Richard left, and it was me. So within that, they're ready to move forward. They're waiting for a go, and then made some change, and then it was kind of.
So did you, Richard, or Grayling decide to stop this project?
No one decided to stop it. It was more of the state coming in saying that an action needs to be taken, and the funds, and these are your options. If you look on the page 2, we had a meeting in February with the state. They came down and they showed us our active projects. All of the ones that are 29 PAA, those are all Gustav Ike. The ILTR are all Katrina Rita. As you can see, Katrina Rita has 0% of grant funds and 0% taken, and that's one of the oldest projects. And they asked for some kind of action to be taken. So we met with Skip to move forward with the project, and it was a lot of talking back and forth, trying to get the right stuff to move forward. We were ready to move forward with the cost, and then there was some additional costs that we were not expecting in the original
That's what any project, but let me ask you this. And I understand, you know, new regimes take over and things change, and sometimes projects need a second look, but, it just seems like the money was there. Apparently it was put there for a reason, because some work had to be done. It just wasn't put there. See, I'm sure there's not money laundering going on in the government, but it seems like we're always moving money. And it's allocated here to pay for it, but now we're gonna move it over here because we're gonna lose it. I mean, that's total irresponsibility in my mind when, why was it put there in the first place is kind of my thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I know about the state wanting to lose money because I'm looking at another project, but I appreciate it.
Councilman Otan?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Bo because I'm still trying to wrap my head around it too, because as y'all know, we had money that was moved out of Lockport on a project that was obviously allocated for a reason, and then they went to Thibodeau. So it does get really confusing. But I want to thank you, Adam, for holding fast and explaining it to us. And I'm asking the council support that rather than losing this money back to the state, which is a grave possibility, that y'all would support this particular resolution. And I would further give y'all my commitment that if anything is placed in the budget, or if we want to try to do any kind of supplemental to do work in the Thibodeau complex, that y'all certainly have my support.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
And that was another thing. Just because we're moving the funds out of the Thibodeau complex for this grant does not mean that the Thibodeau complex cannot be renovated. The main problems that we have with the Thibodeau complex aren't going to be fixed with this, and I'd rather put money towards something that needs to be fixed than having to wait and move forward with it. Because like any kind of leaks and all, that will not be eligible. So you're putting that money in and then having to come back and do it again later. And it can be done in-house, kind of like a comparison. The civil service building that was completed, it cost about $30,000 for us to do in-house, to do the floors, the walls, and the ceilings, which was the same thing that's in this scope of work. That can be done in-house. And the reason the cost was high is because we're still in there, and so they're going to have to work at nights and weekends, and for a contractor to do that, that's also going to be costly because we have no other location to move out for.
Councilman Lafont?
This kind of reminds me of the guy that lives in a rundown house but is going to have a motor home to travel in. I'm going to let my house that I live in go to crap, but I'm going to spend a lot of money to buy me a new toy. That's what it kind of reminds me of. But no, and I think you need a thing. However, but that's what it's like. This money was allocated. You said it just now that it was moving forward with people that y'all put in place, and then all of a sudden somebody decides it shouldn't go. Right?
It wasn't that.
Before, when this administration took over, this money was allowed to be spent in that building. Now all of a sudden a puff of smoke comes around and it can't be spent for these projects. I don't understand how, for the last 2-3 years, it was available and it could be spent. And now all of a sudden it can't be spent on these projects. I just don't understand it. And I think Councilman Melvin said the same thing.
And I think that's the problem that the state is coming at, that it has been sitting for 2 to 3 years and nothing has been taken, and some kind of action needs to be taken. Because if you look on page 12, it's kind of cut off. These are the 3 scenarios that the state has given us, that if we do, because an action has to be taken place today, either we move forward with the cancellation or we don't. If we move forward, the money can be, and y'all vote yes for canceling, we can move the 233 to the Lockport Community Center, or scenario 2, you don't pass it. The state is currently drafting up a de-obligation letter to send to us, and I don't make decisions. That is y'all and administration. I'm just here to relay the message that I'd rather this money go into the parish for something rather than go back to the state or to another parish just because no action has been taken.
And once again, I'm going to reiterate, no action from who? Because this money's been approved a long time ago to be spent.
Yes, and it was no action with previous administration, and then We tried moving forward. Richard, when he was director, we were working on it, and that's where these last cost estimates came from. And then he left in the middle of moving forward, and the state was waiting for documentation. By the time we got it from the architect and to move forward with it, more costs came up, and at this point, it was too late. This funding, this project is supposed to be completed by January 1st of 2017. And it just never moved forward because Grayling originally asked for the third extension, and then right after that was when the change came with a new director, and then...
So they're gonna allow us now to get more time to put on another project? is
The
what
other
they're allowing?
project, the funding can be spent quicker than this because...
So what, give me the exact specific. If I say tonight, yes, I'm gonna vote on this, what is that money gonna be spent on? I need a specific.
Okay, if you go to page 15, on we're currently on quarter 15. We have $200,000 that need to be paid for the Thibodeau, for the Lafourche Community Center. And then.
Page 15?
Quarter 15, page 15, the last page, second last page. On the moving forward.
All right, so 200,000 where?
On quarter 15,
Quarter
which is we're in right now.
All right.
We have $200,000 that is in Lafourche Community Center that can be paid for with this grant.
So we're gonna use 200,000 of this amount of money, which is,
We want to use these funds first to get them out, and then continue using the Gustav Ike funds.
and so the 200,000 is going towards the Lockport Community Center, but to do what?
To pay for design, plan, specs, acquisition, bid advertisement, bid, award notice, construction, acceptance of work, and all that.
We don't even have the land yet.
We still have environmental review that can be paid for. We have services from our administrative and engineers that can be paid for with this, that we still have invoices coming in.
I think the Planners Design Group designed this. Is this the design that y'all did? Y'all still on that Lockport project? Have y'all not been paid yet?
We have invoices already paid, but if this would pass, we would just start using the Katrina Rita instead of the Gustav Ike, which is currently paying for it.
This just seems weird. All right.
Councilman Otan?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, I'm just going to beg for y'all's support. And once again, I know there's been references to, on different levels to this community center, but it's something that is direly needed, has been for a long time, and I agree that it's long overdue. Maybe all these projects are long overdue, and I would just respectfully ask the councilman, don't make this a council versus an administration issue, which just seems like where it's going. I'm just asking for y'all's support that we get this long-needed community center. It's our fire station in Lockport has served to house National Guard, which we're so under, our size is not enough. We don't have shower stations, et cetera. And that we desperately need this community center. So any support, what I don't want to do is hear the project being minimized, because it's a very, very important project. But anyway, thanks again, Adam.
Councilman Melvin?
Adam, real quick, two quick questions. Did you come up with this?
What?
This document with all these schedules as far as what's going to happen and how it's going to be spent, or?
No, this is from Hunt Giat and Associates, who is our project.
I don't know how much you came up with. I didn't know.
No,
whoever
all
did.
of these references in here either come from the state or our project management services.
Okay. So the reason the state is telling us, and I'll end with this, the reason the state is telling us we need to spend it or lose it is why?
Because they're trying to move forward with Katrina Rita and get everything moved forward because
Wrong answer. Because government insufficiency didn't spend it when we should have. Now, I don't mean to point at you, but that's the truth. Thank you. So we're back to square one now. The race starts again. But you can't guarantee this money's going to be used. When you answer Mr. Lafourche and Mr. Noonan here, you can't guarantee. You can only say what you hope it's going to be spent on, right? Because we could have a new regime change or something happen, right?
Well,
Yes.
if it's moved to this project, then it would be there to spend because it will be spent within the next 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what they said the last time. 6 months. This is government, people. Years. Okay? I don't mean to be hard on you, just letting you know. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, thanks again. This is CBDG money, and it's to close out the Katrina Rita stuff. It could be moved to similar project that's under the Gustav Ike, which has longer time, okay? I'm on the Main Street board. He works on Main Street. He wants, his office is leaking from the windows. It can't be fixed. He can't guarantee that it's gonna be spent on that project, but he can almost guarantee that it's going away. I'm telling you, I'm taking money out of my
I
district.
agree, and it's not about
And then
him.
I
He's doing the
also
best
took
he
money
can.
out of
Hold on,
that
Councilman Melvin.
district with Councilman Oten. What he's referring to was something in the Rita community. And he pipes up, hey, look, what are we doing? I've been trying to get pipes, drainage over there for years. Well, it needed to be, we up against a deadline. We moved it to West Side Drainage, I think it was, in Thibodeau. And then we moved some money to Rita right away. It had to be done. It looks funny. It needed to be done. It's going out of my district. I don't want it to go out of my district for several reasons. I sit in these people's offices, and I could tell that work needs to be done, but not to the extent of this much. I really think that we can do it in-house at night, and I've talked to administration, and I know has Chris Landry given you kind of a pecking order of things he knows that needs to be done?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you look at the bid, it just says third floor, first floor, room 1. It doesn't even say what they're doing in room 1. You know, it says there's some vague things in here. I'm just worried we're going to lose this money, and I have faith that they're going to come behind with something else. That's my only kind of injection in this. And we had a lot of time to ask questions, and asking the questions and the stuff that he provided to me made me realize that it needs to be done. I mean,
Can I please respond to that real quick?
Councilman Melvin?
I'm not disagreeing with you, and Adam's done the best he can to carry this load. And I want to support Mr. Noonan here, Mr. Otan. But the point is, this is an example of gross government insufficiency with funds given to us. Thank you.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, Adam, I just want to say that when government, federal government, state gives you money, you better spend it. So basically what you're saying and what I'm hearing here is that if we don't support this, possibly we're going to lose the money.
We will lose the money.
And if the project was that important, the last administration should have done it. The parish lost $500,000 because of the stupidity of the last administration on a fishing pier. We had the whole $500,000, and the government cut it because it wasn't started. Seems like it's okay to bring money to Thibodeau and take it from wherever, but it's wrong to take it from Thibodeau and bring it wherever. That's what I'm seeing here. If they didn't do it, and we're gonna lose it, it's a no-brainer then to vote for this. Shovel-ready or no shovel-ready, that one's been shovel-ready since the beginning. And you don't have nothing. So I say, I'll support Noonan.
Councilman Jones?
Adam, didn't we have an architect on the scene in 2016?
Yes.
Who was he?
Skip Holloway.
He was doing it and putting everything together, right?
He put the whole plan together in 2014.
So
It's
we
the
was
same
moving
plan
forward with it, right?
2014 to 2016, yes.
2016. What happened in 16?
Whenever 2016 came, he had to do a new cost estimate because the project was not moved forward since 2014, and we had to cut back on more things because it also in the process of it waiting so long, we lost funding from the 257 to 233 from project management fees from the grant. That no work was done, but it was lost because it was funded through the grant.
So 2016, what it is now, July 25th, 2017? What
Yes.
happened to the year and a half? I mean, the last administration didn't move. What about this administration?
It was.
Why is at the last minute that this money got to be moved all of a sudden? And nothing is in writing from the state. It's all hearsay.
Let me have, on page 9, Ms. Grayling sent a third-time extension in June, in March of last year, and it was extended, and then by the time it was approved and to move forward, that's when he was no longer with the parish. So it's kind of a phase. But all of these letters on page 9 are all from the state, or was sent to the state, letting us know that this project was supposed to be completed by December 2nd, 2013, and we extended it, and they wanted to have the, by January 31st, the notice to proceed and start and have closeout done.
Still, you got a year that nobody did nothing on it.
We were working toward it, but then there was lots of changes from, in our office at least, from,
Well, Skipper was working on it too.
yes, but he,
Yeah.
okay.
Are you done, Mr. Grow? Mr. Jones? Councilman Grow?
I just wanted to add, I mean, it could have been spent a lot of times, and if you look at Amendment 1, it took the whole fund down to 0 and moved it to Twin Oaks. This money's been moved all around by the past administration, and saying that you're gonna do something and you're on your way out and you didn't get elected is different than doing something. I mean, it never happened. And again, if you look at the last page, it doesn't mean we can't do the renovations. We can do them in-house, and I hope we have something coming right behind it after we get the pecking order from Chris.
Yeah.
I move to call a vote.
Mr. Cantrell?
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of stuff in-house because it's gonna be cheaper for us to do it in-house. Stuff that didn't qualify, like the leaks of the windows, doesn't qualify for that money. But Chris is gonna do it, and we already spoke to Chris about it, and he's done a remarkable good job with his crew on the old ag building. I think he needs to be commended for the good work they've done, and we can move it forward on the building. I like to see the windows sealed. I like to see things done, but it's just that right now he doesn't have the time to put it together. But as soon as we do, we'll be working on it.
I got one thing real quick.
He called for question.
First of all, Adam,
Councilman
thank you.
Lafont?
First of all, thank you.
He called for question. He called for question. All in favor?
No, that's just for call for question.
All in favor?
For question. I got a question.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Gotta raise your hands on there, one aye and two nays.
Can ayes raise your hand on call to question?
It fails.
It fails.
Adam, first of all, thank you. I think you're doing a great job. Maybe if you would have been in here prior to the last two guys that were doing the job, that I think we wouldn't be in this situation, this pickle we are today. But on here it says to end the contract, the current contract, right? It's going to cost the parish $38,759.
Yeah.
So we
will still have to pay that, but we're gonna have to pay that regardless if we move forward, or we're gonna have to pay $350,000.
So we throw in $40,000 in the toilet.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. That's all I got.
Councilman Lorraine, did you have something? Councilman Grow, you done?
And if we do it, how much more outside of this grant are we gonna have to come up with?
If we do move forward, we will not have the 233 from the grant, so it would be 350,000.
Okay, Adam, I realized that you had someone else put this information together for you, but I gotta say, and I have a grant background, so I wasn't sure what was happening with it, and I'll be honest, I didn't have a chance to look at this until about an hour before the meeting. The way you defended this decision and the way you explained what's going on, it's just unbelievable. You've held yourself very well before this council, and I just want to commend you for doing that, because I know it's not always easy to sit in front of all these questions. So I appreciate what you just done. It was awesome. And Nichols produces some great graduates. I'm just going to add that. I will take issue with something that Nooney said, and saying that it was a council against an administration. And you'll agree with me, when grants are very confusing, you know, especially CDBG funds and all of, I can understand our fellow council members, as well as I didn't understand until I got all of this, until I read all of this. I know you sent it a couple of days ago. So I don't think it's a council against an administration. I'm glad that we had all of these questions because it is confusing. I know you understand that, right?
Yeah, I'm still trying to get it together too. But like, the one thing that's nice is that grants are very black and white. It's either you do what they do, or you don't get funding. And that makes it easier on my part to move forward with things.
And one thing I guess that worries me, and again, I was against this before I got all of this, and after I read this, I was probably agreeing to do it, and also your presentation, but de-obligate in the grant world, you never want to hear that. That's a bad word. Also, we need to consider whenever there's a de-obligation of funds, whenever you apply for another grant, that's looked at, and it's kind of a black mark on your record that you were given money and it was de-obligated. So that's never something we want to do, in addition to losing the money, and it may cause problems in getting future grants. So that happens sometimes. It's not fair, but it does happen. Did you have anything else you needed to add?
I think that's it. But thank you. I appreciate your time. If you have any other questions, just let me know.
That's all. Let's call it to vote. All in favor? Aye. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Raise your hand. One opposed? Okay, it passes 6-1-2. Thank you, Adam. Great job. Can I get someone to?
I move we suspend the rules and consider E34, which is proclamation.
It's a deviation. I'd like to deviate from the agenda. Okay. I gotta get a vote right. All in favor? All in favor? Aye. All in favor? To deviate from the agenda? All in favor? To deviate. Second by Councilman Lorraine. I thought Jerry Jones did.
Did you do it, Mr. Jerry?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Jones had done it. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, E34. I'm sorry Mr. Corey's not here because he is the one that originally brought up wanting to recognize some of our community leaders and some people that do exceptional work in our community. I don't get to experience Miss Batto too often, but being around her is an experience and a delightful one, I might add. And I know I was able to participate with this girls' leadership program that you put on the other day, and it's amazing how you relate to the girls. It's amazing how, there's no age barriers, there's no communication breakdowns. It's just incredible what you and your entire team do. And in addition to that, all of the other things that you do for our community. And I just wanted to commend you and thank you so much for always being there, always be willing to help. And we have a proclamation for you that Ms. Carlene will read. And 34, I will go ahead and read it. Proclamation honoring Dr. Laura Batto for her outstanding service and dedication in promoting female leadership in government, public service, and business. Can someone move for me? Moved by Councilman Grow. Second? Second by Councilman Jones. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Proclamation, Parish of Lafourche. Whereas on behalf of Councilwoman Lucy Sposito, the Lafourche Parish Council wishes to honor Dr. Laura Batto for her outstanding service and dedication in promoting female leadership in government, public service, and business through a variety of educational programs for women, not only in Lafourche Parish, but throughout the state of Louisiana. And whereas Dr. Batto was a founding member of the Louisiana Center for Women in Government and Business, whose mission statement is to promote women's leadership in government, public service, and business, cultivate economic opportunities for women, acknowledge and support the achievements of women, and educate citizens about the importance of public service, responsible citizenship, and public policy education. In 2008, she became the director of the center and increased programming, initiating Louisiana Girls Leadership Academy, National Women's Leadership Summit, National Girls Leadership Academy, and Louisiana Women's Leaders Conference. And whereas Dr. Batto, as a community activist, has served and dedicated her time to numerous organizations throughout the state, such as Juvenile Justice, Lafourche Cancer Society, Phi Junior Women's Club, Lafourche Daughters of the American Revolution, and the Lafourche J.C. Janes, among others. She has also served Lafourche Parish as chair of the Commission for Women for many years, and whereas Dr. Battle, a full professor at Nicholls State University, has served as president of the Faculty Senate and founded Pro-NSU, she has been recognized by Who's Who as one of the 10 outstanding young women in America, as an inductee in the LCWBG Hall of Fame, and as one of only 3 women named as Outstanding Citizen of Thibodaux by the Veterans of Foreign Wars. She is a published speaker. She's so wonderful. I love her so much. She's a published speaker on leadership, communications, power, and parliamentary procedure. Be it resolved that the Lafourche Parish Council wishes to thank and honor Dr. Laura Batto for her time, talent, and treasure she has bestowed upon the people of Lafourche Parish, as well as throughout the state, in promoting female leadership in government, public service, and business. On behalf of Council Chairman Corey Perilou, Council Vice Chair Lucy Sposito, and the Lafourche Parish Council, we do hereby set our signatures and cause to be affixed the official seal of the Lafourche Parish Council, State of Louisiana, this 25th day of July, 2017, Matthews, Louisiana.
Definitely don't want to miss hearing you speak.
I mean, this is on, I don't think I need to be on. I am most humbled and honored that you would recognize me as a leader in Lafourche and in Louisiana. For I take my cue from a great leader of long ago who said, "There go my people. I must follow them. Am I not their leader?" Something that you do every day as you represent the people of Lafourche. Something that my husband, Chip Batto, does every day as he represents the people of Thibodaux. And it also represents strong women. And today, I am so pleased that you have chosen me to be one of those strong women. Because Lucy and Carlene, and to every woman in this room, I say, here's to strong women. May we know them, may we guide them, may we be them.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Miss Laura, I have your proclamation. I do want to say one thing. When I mentioned this to Miss Carlene, I had very little to do with, she researched you. I'm surprised you didn't get some kind of alerts that went off, because she researched you and really just poured herself into trying to make sure she came up with all your information. So I just want to thank Ms. Carlene, and she does adore you as well. So I'll get a picture with you, but Councilman Perilou isn't here.
Yeah.
Councilman Perilou didn't sign because he didn't come today. So if we can just take a picture, and I'll get this to you after, and get him to sign it after. I'm coming down.
Did Gretchen leave? Gretchen left? Is she sitting there? No, just the chair and vice chair.
Thank you so much. Y'all made me cry.
I don't want to be the picture.
That's why I support strong women. You can't hear me. Lucy, can I just say one thing? I'm leaving right now to go to a board meeting in New Orleans to vote on members who inducted into the Louisiana Hall of Fame for women in government and business. And I want you to know that there are 5 nominees from Lafourche Parish. So I'm certain that we will be honored, so.
Oh, good. Thank you. How much we have left? Are y'all, do y'all need a break or should we continue?
Break.
Want to power through? Councilman Otan gets the vote. Going to take a 5-minute break, 5 minutes. Need someone to move for me to go back to the regular agenda. Moved by Councilman Jones. Second by Councilman Grow. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 702. Is it 7? Are we missing it? Okay. Number 22. And thank God, I think that's the last time we're going to move to a different part in the agenda, so we should be going a lot quicker. 22, resolution requesting administration to enter into an agreement with the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office to reestablish and use the use of traffic calming devices in Lafourche Parish. Can someone move? Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Melvin. All in favor?
I got a question.
Oh, sorry, discussion from the council.
I'm gonna vote in favor, but I remember since y'all been on here that we voted to go back into, doing this, so I think we just repeating ourselves.
Right, and it doesn't have any teeth because Mr. Jimmy can
Okay,
do what he wants.
all
This
right,
is just
let's roll.
another recommendation from the council. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 702. Number 23, resolution requesting Lafourche state and federal delegation to assist the town of Grand Isle with their beach erosion due to it being the last barrier island to protect Lafourche and surrounding parishes. Moved by Councilman Lafont, second. Second by Councilman Grow. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted, since that last storm, went down there and looked, and I'm gonna tell you, from all the way from Fourchon to Grand Isle, but Grand Isle being the main, part, that if you look at the way the winds blow, if we lose that barrier island, Lafourche Parish is exposed to the maximum ability, especially, Loop. And so if we don't ask, and I'm just asking for the state to please support that, and it's our last barrier island. If we gotta start building marsh again, we in a bind, so just asking for y'all support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 702. Number 24, appointing one member on the Lafourche Parish-wide Recreation Advisory Board representing District 2. Can I get someone to move on that for me? Councilman Grow,
Kenny Giat?
get your mic.
Second.
Kenny Giat?
A second.
Second by Councilman Lafont. All in favor? Or any discussion? You good, Mike? Your mic?
I'm good.
Yeah. All in favor? Opposed? Passes 702. Number 25, resolution appointing one member on the Lafourche Parish Animal Shelter Advisory Board, moved by Councilman Lorraine for administration. Did he say? Did he say it? Second by Councilman Lafont. All in favor? Opposed? Passes 702. 26, resolution amending resolution number 17-226, which approved a cooperative endeavor agreement with Jake Kids LLC, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Jake's Kids LLC for school uniforms and/or post-secondary school work uniforms as it pertains to adding without accessories, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Jones. Second by Councilman Grove. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 702. Y'all got to get a little louder with your yays. Number 27, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Raceland's Pharmacy Express, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Raceland's Pharmacy Express for medicine, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Jones. Second by Councilman Lafont. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes. Passes 702. Item number 28 is being pulled. Number 29, resolution approving change order number 3 from Global Industry Contractors, LLC, for the project entitled Edgewood Pump Station Upgrade, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said change order and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Melvin. Second by Councilman Grow. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 702. Number 30, resolution approving the contracts of Witt O'Brien's LLC, hereby designated as being in the first position of award, and Tetra Tech, Inc., hereby designated as being in the second position of award for contractor services relative to monitoring of disaster-generated debris removal, management and technical assistance, and accepting the proposals of other contractors listed as such by the Lafourche Parish Government Evaluation Committee as pre-qualified disaster debris monitoring service contractors, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contracts and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Jones. Second by Councilman Lafont. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 702. Number 31, resolution approving the contracts of Cirrus Environmental Services, Inc., hereby designated as being in the first position of award, and DRC Emergency Services, LLC, hereby designated as being in the second position of award for contractor services relative to disaster debris removal and recovery services, and accepting the proposal of other contractors listed as such by the Lafourche Parish Government Evaluation Committee contractors, and authorizing the parish president to, as pre-qualified disaster debris removal and recovery service contractors, as authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman, somebody wants to move for Bourgeois? Moved by Councilman Lafont. Second by Councilman Grow. Any discussion? I have something. Who is on this, committee? Who's on this? Is that with the parish, that committee? Name and address for the record, please.
Jerome Danos, Lafourche Parish Government, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews. Yes, to answer your question, it's in this case on the debris removal committee, myself, Wallace McCann, and an independent consultant served as the committee members.
Who put that committee together?
I did myself, as the debris manager for Lafourche Parish Government.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion? Did you have anything else to add?
No.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 702. Number 32, resolution approving an interagency agreement between Lafourche Parish Council Head Start and Lafourche Parish School Board to coordinate efforts for the 2017-2018 school year to identify and serve children who are at risk for developmental delays and/or have exceptional needs, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Melvin. Second by Councilman Grow. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 702. Number 33, resolution appointed one member on the Fire District Number 8C Board. Someone move for me?
I'll move for you.
Moved by Councilman Grow. Second by Councilman Jones.
Patrick Wiley, Jr.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 702. So we finished E, going on to F, presentation and or updates. Any of those? Who's that from? Being none, G, engineer and architect reports. I know you're glad to see that right now, huh? Who's here for that? Heather? Okay. State your name and address for the record, please.
Sandy Guidry with Angela Piciola, 15511 East Main Street, Cutoff. For the Parlor Rose Pump Station, the construction is ongoing and ahead of schedule. We've got a few things to finish up. You'll see the structure is in place. They've got to finish up the discharge pipes, add some hand railings, exhaust pipes, stuff like that. The stairway was being galvanized, excuse me, they told me yesterday, so it should be on site and installed within the next week or so. We had a progress meeting on the site last week and with James Bournes, and there's a few things that the parish would like to add, so the contractor's working on a change order. We were way under budget on this project, so the change order is gonna be minor. It's gonna, some solar power and lighting and a gate. But that should be coming in, I think September 27th is the end of this contract, and they're well ahead of schedule. For Highway 308 Road and Drainage, I'm pretty sure it's in the mail. The notice to proceed is in the mail back to our office. The date is set for Monday. So, Mr. Lorraine, you should be seeing some work there soon. Industrial Park Flood Wall and Drainage Phase 2. We are finalizing the plans and specifications on this. We should be going out for start advertising for bid next week. And we are also actively in the design phase of Phase 3, which is additional drainage. I know there were questions on why we didn't group these two together, and this was in 3 different phases because the flood wall that's done, we wanted to make sure we spend every dollar there. So once we knew how much we had left for these 2 phases, and then we've got a good estimate on Phase 2, so we know exactly how much we could spend on Phase 3. And that's all I've got. If you got any questions.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, you said that project's gonna start anytime?
Correct. I think they were starting on some layout, but the notice to proceed date will be on Monday, the July 31st, I think is the date.
That's one of the CDBG
Correct.
funding projects.
Correct.
And that's about a $600,000 project?
In the budget, there was 620, and I think they came in under budget, so it's right around 600.
600, okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Councilman LaFont?
Sandy, thank you for the report, but once again, I just want to reiterate what your dad meant to our community. I've been knowing your family. Matter of fact, my mom was your aunt's godmother, so been in love with your family for a long time. And once again, just want you to know that we mourn the loss of your father. He touched many young men's lives in our community, as Chief Otan can say, but just want to let you know how heartfelt and we love your family and thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And with that, my family cannot thank District Number 3. The fire department was exceptional in the preparation and what they did to honor my father. There aren't enough thank yous to go around to them. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? State your name and address for the record, please.
Heather Klingman with Duplantis Design Group, 314 East Bayou Road. All right, so the first project is the community center. We're working on plans, pretty much final construction drawings are going to be submitted for state review in early August. So we're just continuing to move forward on the design for this project, and this is just an updated site plan here that you see, and then this is a rendering elevation that the architects have put together just to kind of give you an idea of what the building's going to look like as it's currently designed. Layton Pump Station is the next project. This is an HMGP project. We submitted 60% design plans earlier this month, and we are working towards 100% design plans to be submitted to the state at the end of August. Parish-wide pump station drainage project, this one, and then next one, Timberland. We've been waiting on the core permit for Timberland. We finally have that in hand. So we're going to get all this finalized and get these projects put out to bid. Galliano Bridge, it's almost complete. I say almost because we all know the challenges that we face. They are in the process of striping the roadway and then finalizing. You can see the galvanized railings are up right now. They had a few little things to do as far as putting cables in. That, for the most part, is finished up. Striping was going along, and they ran out of stripe in the middle of it. So they've put an order in for the rest of the striping, and that should be in Thursday, Friday. Not lying. It's dead serious on that. We're thinking, hoping by this weekend they'll get the striping in and get it finished up. They are currently, just to let y'all know, they're currently 134 days into liquidated damages as of now. That equals about $67,000. So once we actually get substantial completion, the date, which hopefully will be this weekend, early next week, what we can do is see exactly where we are in the liquidated damages, put together a final change order, and submit that to the council for review and, and voting on. Diplomat Way and Eau Claire Drive drainage improvements. These are some pictures. The alternate phase here has been done and complete for a while. When they started on the back end of the project is when all this continuous rain that we've been getting kind of started to hit. So you can see they're moving along, but it's slow because, again, every time it rains, they get a deluge of water coming down. But they're moving along. Their contract completion date is August 25th. So, I would have swore that they would have been done well before that, but with the daily rain events that we've been having, they may be a little bit past that. But, we'll see as the next few weeks go on. Streetlight permitting, we're actually not doing anything right now. We're kind of on hold until we get a new batch of permits from the parish. So we're not doing anything on that one right now. And home elevations, we are still just coordinating with one of the homeowners. She's getting all of her approvals and everything in place, and as soon as all that's done, then she can get started on her home elevation. And that's it. Any questions?
No questions. Thank you. Oh, Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, it gets frustrated when you're gonna bid out a job for a contractor, and they're gonna give you X amount of time, and you're gonna go past the time that they gave you. I got businesses that are hurting. I got people that are upset, and I can't blame them. I'm with them. I keep saying it's gonna open today, tomorrow, whenever. I mean, don't tell me this thing's gonna open next week. I suggest, I don't know, get somebody to stripe the thing, get it done so we can open the bridge. I mean, I blame the engineer and I blame the contractor. I'm not gonna give you no slack because something should have been done a long time ago. I gotta answer all the calls. And I support the public because they're right. We got some businesses that are barely holding on with the economy being bad, and this is even worse. If something is not done soon, now you're telling me maybe next week. How many next weeks they're gonna have? After 52, we run out in a year. I don't really want to get upset with you, but I mean, something gotta be done. I mean, here we're gonna stripe the road and then we're gonna run out of tape. Now, does that make sense?
Absolutely not. It does not.
I mean, come on, I can leave here tonight and go get some tape somewhere or whatever I need in private business. I mean, this thing is just dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. And it's totally ridiculous. I can tell you what, I learned my lesson. Before I vote on a contractor, I'm gonna really study it. And one thing that we need to be careful with, the contract was awarded to a company from Houma, and he subcontracted the whole job. I don't think that might be legal, but I don't think we should do that.
It is. It's
It might be legal, but we should be able to put some stipulations. Because the parish, the bridge itself, everything, we've been trying it out, everything, we're ready to go. We're waiting on them to stripe it. Now, they want to open it, and no, it don't work that way. Finish your job. But it's going to take another 2 weeks. I mean, I'm tired of telling the people that Friday. This is probably my third Friday.
Yeah, I think it probably is. You're right.
We
You're
meet again
absolutely
in
right.
2 weeks, and this time, probably still not gonna be open.
I'm beyond the point of guessing when they're gonna be done, Mr. Daniel. I'm right there. I'm right there with you, and as frustrated as you are.
No, I understand, but it's just hard for me to believe 134 days over. And you know what puzzles me the most? They complain about rainy days. Most of the time, they're working in the rain, and the sun is shining, and it ain't doing a damn thing. I pass there all the time. I stop there every now and then. I get so frustrated, I don't want to stop. But I could see what they're doing. I mean, I got a pair of eyes.
Yep.
And you got 134 days on a 120-day job. I want to be part of that liquidated stuff too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, look, what's gonna happen is, as I mentioned, once we have substantial completion, once they're actually finished, we'll have a substantial completion date, liquidated damages stop at that point, and then what we do is we'll prepare a final change order, and, you know, what it will include is a reduction in the contract amount by the amount of the liquidated damages, you know, as directed by the administration, then that goes to council and y'all vote on it. Y'all vote as to whether or not to assess those liquidated damages.
And it's $500 a day, but I ain't worried about the $500 a day. I want the bridge open.
We all want it open, right?
I'm worried about it now.
Yeah.
That adds up pretty quick.
Councilman LaFont?
I just want to reiterate what Councilman Lorraine said. I don't have to say everything, but I feel exactly like him, and it's not in my district, but the 10th Ward, we get each other's calls, and I'm starting to get quite a few. Actually, I got a cousin that's on Facebook. I think he's becoming the king of the bridge because he gives a daily report on it. They actually are talking about naming the bridge after him, so I told him he'd have to die first. He is just, it's utterly ridiculous. So the process is, when it finishes, you're gonna tell them these days that they're gonna be assessed? Is that how it works? And then they can fight it? How does that?
They can, I mean, they can fight it. You know, they can come to the council, they can argue whatever their points are, you know, what they think if they shouldn't be assessed it or they should be assessed it.
Right. And the first 120 days they had, there wasn't really much inclement weather.
No.
Now that they into the weather that they should have been finished with, maybe they could have some rain days, but I'm not gonna allow rain days when if you would have finished in the 120 days, you wouldn't have been in this pickle.
Right.
It's ridiculous, and I'm with Daniel. I can't believe that it's allowed to subcontract out, and I think that goes to the problem of having to take the lowest bid.
That's part of it. I think we've talked about it before. You can declare a contractor what you call non-responsible, which means, you know, in this case, if you've had problems, significant and serious problems with a contractor in the past, you know, when you get their bid and you can say, well, we've had serious problems with this contractor, we're considering them non-responsive, we're not gonna award the contract to them.
And I don't think this is their first time. We've had.
I'm not sure. I think there may have been another, I'm not certain
Second
about the
time.
previous ones, yeah. But you have that, the parish and the council has that option, you know, to do that in the future. But it's always, you know, a legal battle. They can always fight back, you know, sue, that kind of stuff, so, but it is an option.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Heather, who's the contractor?
Volute.
Okay,
Volute out of Homa. LeBro Construction is the sub that they've subbed the majority of the work.
Who is that?
LeBro Construction.
How do you spell that?
Lebro.
LeBro.
LeBro. Yeah,
Okay.
they're the ones who are
Volute
doing the
and
majority
LeBro.
of the work.
Okay. The 134 days, that you have as far as, for liquidated damages, that is already minus the inclement weather days, right?
So they have not requested any rain delays to date. And you know, we've indicated to them previously, you know, if you're going to request rain delays, request them on a monthly basis with your pay request, and they have never requested any rain days to date. So there are no rain days included in there at all. That 134 days, basically from the notice to proceed, you know, added, if you add the contract time, they're 134 days past that contract time.
Wow. Okay. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Any other? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, Jack Plazos with Picciola and Associates, 115 Picciola Parkway. I have 4 projects to report on. I don't have a slide on the first one, being Road Sales Tax District 2 Phase 4L, which is in the final design stage. We were able to meet with Public Works early this week to review our bid documents, and like I said, those are under review at this point, and we'll move from there into the bidding phase. West 11th Street, 24K drainage. Heather mentioned inclement weather, and this project is in no way immune to that problem. The 3 of these pictures are actually slides from last month showing pretty much the final product. There were erosion issues that I believe I discussed last time. That picture on the bottom right shows that the contractor has regraded the embankment along 3235 and installed some erosion control. We're standing firm, holding the contractor's retainage until they can do their final dress-up work, but the rain that we've had has impacted the project. The third project is Coastal Pump Station, Lockport. Circle LLC is about 45% through the contract time and on schedule. You can see on the bottom that photograph is showing the sheet pile walls, which are nearly complete at this time. The contract completion date is December 5th, and we're monitoring that work. Seems to be moving along well. Leeville Boat Launch, Thomas C. Construction is nearly complete. In fact, they've requested a substantial completion inspection for Friday this week, and we will have a final inspection on Monday. About all of the time has elapsed thus far, so they're right at the end of the contract time. And you can see some new photographs here of the pavilion that has went up this month. The lower right hand, you can see the fishing pier in its final form with lights, handrails, and it's ADA accessible. And that concludes my report. If there are any questions.
Councilman LaFont?
Not a question, just a comment. Jack, on West 11th Street, I just want to commend y'all for doing such a great job. I'm going to tell you that's made all the world in the difference of drainage for that neighborhood. Also, I went check it out during a big rain, and man, that water was flowing out of there quicker. So I think y'all did a great job. I got a few phone calls from people that live in the neighborhood. Besides just a few little places that we had to touch up down the street. I think everything went great, but they were all happy saying the neighborhood's draining really good. They had some concerns with us filling that ditch up that maybe wasn't drained, but once I explained to them that they were basically draining from the Big Apple all the way down, then they understood. But thank y'all for doing such a good job, and it's really helped out that area. That was one of the first projects when I first got elected that I initiated to get done, so thank you.
Appreciate it. I'd want to add that we did have some coordination with Public Works Department to kind of revamp the project early on, and we had some good communications with DPW to make some changes to this that did bring the cost down.
The only thing, and this would be something for James, that the ditch is getting overgrown real quick. So I don't know, it probably needs to be cut right now. It's pretty tall.
Yes, as soon as weather permits, Jerry.
Councilman Melvin?
Jack, I appreciate the correspondence you sent me concerning Dugas Canal. Sure. Anything new considered in over the last several days, or anything today, yesterday?
As we talked about, I guess last week, permitting is the critical item that we're trying to work on right now. I did speak to the engineer today, and we are planning to travel to Baton Rouge and meet with the Department of Natural Resources to try and expedite the permitting process on that. So
Okay.
that's the next critical path item. The plans and specs were submitted. We did get some comments from the state yesterday, which are pretty easy things for him to take care of. So
Okay,
it
real
seems to be
quick
going
question
well.
too. I know before, within the last month, I requested some documents, the same ones just to look at, and, you know, you said, well, maybe we have to go to administration, et cetera, as per the charter. Correct me if I'm wrong, I know the charter says we can't give orders, correct, or can't negotiate contracts, right? Okay. I don't think asking a question falls under that, especially with information that could be gotten on a Freedom of Public Information request, correct?
Right.
So, do you see anything, just from an engineer's point of view, with a councilman asking questions to see a document, just to see how things are going? A document that I have no control over, or we have no control over?
My response, and what I believe I said in the email, is that I didn't feel comfortable transferring documents to really.
On emails, these things were
on
emails. Public, if
Right.
it's on public email, it's public documents.
Right, and it, without getting into a lot of the my personal reasons about it, I would just say that that's direction I would need to get from administration, because it's work and it's time consuming.
Is it giving orders, or is it asking questions? That's my question, Jack.
Well, you requested documents.
Right,
So,
public documents that are ordered on an email server, and anybody can get them through a public service request. But me as a councilman, I see that as red tape. I see it as red tape, just another step I have to take just to get documents. And this is not just with you, my man, this is with everything. And that's one part of the charter that confuses me, because I was told that, well, you know, they had councilmen who were signing documents or doing this years ago. Well, that's years ago, I get it. That was a problem. Maybe it was when the police jury system was switching over to council, I don't know. But I just see that as micromanaging and nitpicking, and I'm not saying you. I'm just saying, according to the charter, I just think it's red tape. That me as a councilman cannot ask to see things, not change things, not sign things, just to get an update so I can educate myself, you see. That's all it is.
I encourage that, and I think you surely can, but in my position and with my contract, I'm hesitant to broadcast contract documents and those types of things. I do think that we've had a very good communication thus far since day one. We've had a lot of conversations, we've had a lot of discussions to keep you astute of the progress, but when it comes to documentation, I need to get administrative direction on those things as far as I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I can respectfully disagree, but I know you gotta say for your job, I'll get it. It's just, to me, if I wanna request things just to follow the progress of a project from the outside, not signing contracts, not trying to give orders, but I appreciate it.
Understood. Thanks.
Thank you, Jack. Oh, wait, Daniel?
Yeah, Jack, on that project on West 11th, what would have been the difference in the cost if we couldn't have got a right of way from the landowner to cut across the property versus going the other way?
We did cost estimates, and not knowing that number off the top of my head.
Well, a ballpark figure.
Ballpark, at least double what was spent. The original concept was to do, and maybe triple, the original concept was to pipe the subsurface drainage from 3235 to the 40 Arpent Canal, which is several thousand feet, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 feet. Here we had the drainage length was maybe 700 feet.
So by the owner of that property letting us cut across saved about probably $2.5–3 million.
I think that,
I could
that
stretch
might
it
be
to
on the
4.
high side, but it was a significant amount of money.
Right, and this is probably a better job.
It is. I think it's a better job. Yeah, it's more affordable. It's less maintenance, and yeah, I think it's more long term.
Okay, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Any other engineers? Okay, moving along, parish president, department heads, directors, and manager reports, presentations, and/or updates. None. Questions for the administration? I have a question. Oh, go ahead, Councilman Otan.
I just want to, in light of some recent incidents and just looking around, James, I'm just curious to know if there's any way we can try to reinvigorate the Valentine Pontoon Bridge project. If there's any way to do it with these, I mean, obviously with the West LaRose Bridge being out, there's a lot more pressure going on 308, and then when we have incidents like we've had recently, yeah, that's almost a 9-mile distance between the two bridges, and it's overwhelming for the sheriff's office, overwhelming for state police, overwhelming for local responders, and so it's kind of been fired back up about, you know, what can we possibly do in that area to get that Valentine Pontoon Bridge back going.
I'll have some conversation with the administration.
All right, thanks, James.
Mr. Jimmy, I know we just moved some money from the Thibodeau complex to Lockport and all of that. The office, the council suite, we've already talked about changing those locks. Do you have any update on when we're going to be able to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so is it you just don't want to do it, or?
No, I've sent an email to Corey. I haven't got a response, and I don't know if just changing the locks would do it. Really, I suggested we put cameras to see who goes in and who goes out. I think that would be a better fix than just changing the locks.
Why do you think it would be better?
Because you see who goes in and who goes out. I mean, it's live. That's my.
So is that why you haven't authorized the locks to be changed, because you prefer to put cameras?
I haven't, no, because I think that we do a lot better getting cameras in place.
The next thing, the temperature in that suite is inhumane. You go in one office, you need to bring a personal air conditioner. You go in the other office, you need to dress like an Eskimo. And I'm really wish I was exaggerating. Is there anything that can be done about the ductwork or whatever it is? Because it's horrendous.
Well, we have the same problem. Upstairs on the 3rd floor, I gotta put a heater, it's so cold you could hang meat. And some offices, they gotta put the air conditioner on. I didn't
So
look
we
at
had an experienced AC person look at it and try to determine?
We had people looking at it, and they said that nothing can be done, it's just the way it is. So maybe I can get Chris to look at it again, see, come up with some suggestions. It's really, in some areas, you're so cold, you freeze. I mean,
Right.
a lot of people in the 3rd floor has heaters underneath their desks to keep warm. And
Right.
some places, they have a little air conditioning, goes through the window, one of those little portable air conditioners, because it's not cold enough.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, I do.
Oh, Councilman Melvin?
Yeah, Mr. Cantrell, I know some people have multiple locks on their house. Some people have door locks, some people have a deadbolt, some people have a chain, some people have all three. And I can promise you, the ones that have all three, they're locking all three at night. It's just the way it is. That's why they have them. So I can understand cameras. Hey, let's do cameras. I still want to do locks. Because to me, I'd like to fully understand, you know, your motivation not to change the locks when we've had some definite suspicious things going on. Tapes have gone missing. Thibodeau police over there again last week. Could you please tell me your motivation not to put the locks? To protect the public good?
Mr. Melvin, this has been going on for a long time. And
I agree with you on that.
we send deputies, we sent a deputy with somebody, and, well, they walked in, the door was open, nobody was there watching it. So a camera system would be the real answer to the problem. If you want to solve the problem, you put a camera system. And that way we know who goes in, who goes out, who's monitoring it, because we can see. So that's the answer to the problem. Because it happened, I don't know if Josh is here. Josh, could you tell me, come up here and see what happened?
State your name and address for the record, please.
Josh Champagne, Director of Homeland Security, Lafourche Parish Government. What was the question again?
The question is, when you walked in to look at the space or where was the door there or not, didn't you see the door was left open? Anybody could have walked in?
Sometimes the back door gets left open, I guess, when people are going in and out from the back suite area, I guess is the main entrance. Yes, so it's been left ajar a couple of times, what it looks like.
Councilman Melvin?
How long you been a deputy, or in law enforcement, should I say?
23 years.
How long?
23.
Okay. Would you say locks act as a deterrent?
I'm sorry?
Would you say that locks act as a deterrent?
Sure. For honest people, yeah.
Okay. Would you say that when something goes missing, like tapes, especially the public trust and the government atmosphere, that it's better to be proactive than to sit on your hands and maybe things will get better?
I think we need to take a proactive approach, yes.
Okay. And you say, in your professional opinion, would locks, in addition to cameras, help?
I think we do have an issue with our keys. We do have some keys that are...
Okay, new locks.
New locks need to be
Get a
put
key
in place.
system.
Absolutely, yes. Cameras would be great. That way we get footage of who's going in and out of there that could be utilized for investigations and stuff like that, and actually just to see the movement in and out, safety of everybody working there. Changing of the locks, I don't see it being a bad idea either.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Councilman LaFont?
My only concern is this: when you got government, there's three branches of government, right? Legislation, judicial, and executive. Of course, the parish owns all the buildings that house the judges, own the building that houses the DA, own our buildings. Can anybody get in Cam Morvant's office with a key, or just Cam Morvant?
I can't say that. I don't think
Do you
so.
got a key to Cam Morvant's office?
No, I don't.
Mr. Jimmy, do you have a key to Mr. Cam Morvant's office?
No, I certainly don't.
Okay, and anybody else in this building have a key to Mr. Cam Morvant's office? I don't think. Anybody have a key to Craig Weber's office? Can you get in Sheriff Weber's office? Can you get in Sheriff Weber's office, Mr. Jimmy?
Roy Grove can. He just raised his hand.
Roy might be able to.
Roy, you'll bring me a key.
It's
so
a
I can
simple
get in?
fact. You got separation of government. One government's not supposed to get in the other government's office. Bottom line. President of the United States can't go into the Senator Cassidy's office. You know what? There's things that the president shouldn't know that Cassidy knows. That's what it boils down to. Camera system, he wants a camera system maybe so they could see what we're doing in there. Sometimes we have things that we want to discuss that we don't want nobody to know about. So Ms. Carlene's office doesn't have, it's not a security issue where nobody can get in and out of the building. It's a little glass building. If you've never been in there, it's a little bitty glass office. It was, somebody looks like somebody went in her office this week. Guess what? Ms. Carlene might have documentation that nobody else is supposed to see. Before a meeting or something. That should be changed. I don't think Mr. Jimmy should have an office, key to our office, just like I don't think we should have a key to Mr. Jimmy's office. The easiest and cheapest route is to change a lock. Camera systems can be expensive, cost time to monitor them. Easiest fix is to change a lock.
And I think in that whole situation there, you have keys that are designated, correct me if I'm wrong, to legislative branch, but you do have one or two doors that are controlled by a master key.
Right.
I don't believe there's a key system on the vault itself where the tapes were being stored. I think that's something that maybe needs to be looked at also. And Mr. Jimmy's right, cameras would definitely help out. I mean, in the event something does take place, that we can go back and hopefully find footage.
But over the years, Mr. Champagne, there's people, I know there's councilmen that I served with that didn't turn in their keys, am I correct? Said they lost them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know if how they can get in the building, I don't know all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's time for an update and change the locks. And I think the executive branch ought to have their keys, and I think the legislative branch ought to have their own keys. Bottom line. I don't want to go in Mr. Jimmy's office. I have nothing in there for me to go see. Right. Just like I don't think anybody from his administration should even walk in our office.
Right.
Councilman Jones?
Yeah,
Sir?
Mr. Champagne, when we say cameras, Mr. Cantrell say he'd much rather have cameras. What would the cameras be programmed to? Computer?
Hard drive.
on the hard drive on the computer, who would control that hard drive on the computer?
That would be, I guess, led by the administration.
Right. You ever heard of a delete button?
Absolutely, sure.
Locks would be better.
Mr. Jimmy, do you have something?
No, you can also, change locks, you can rekey them too. You know, we rekey locks every day.
Are you willing to do that?
We'll look
You'll
at
approve it?
But I mean, I think to really secure it, honestly, if you have a camera system, then you know what's going on and who's in there. And that's the answer I think that we should look into to protect the people's property. In other words, and if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, then you get caught on tape, you got to answer to it. And that's, what are y'all gonna change if we give more keys out and change locks? What process you gonna go through to change it so it don't happen again? I still didn't get an answer to that. I asked for that. I said, what are y'all gonna do to process that this don't happen again? Never got an answer back. So you want me to do something, but y'all not willing to give me what process y'all gonna do to change it. And that's, I mean, the camera system is one thing. Sure, we can change, we can rekey locks. There's no problems in rekeying locks. But give me a process on your part, how are we gonna change it so it doesn't occur again?
I've never seen documents where you asked that.
I sent something to Mr. Perilou. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Perillou's not here, and you're saying y'all, so it's not
Well,
us.
I don't, I just figure.
Get your story straight.
My story is straight,
Yeah,
Jerry.
your story's always crooked.
Oh, just like you, Jerry, I guess.
Okay.
All right, I'm not the one being investigated, right?
Okay, I do want to say this. Mr. Jimmy,
Yes, ma'am.
you love your family.
Look.
No, this is my work family. If someone was breaking into your home and rifling through your papers and your items and your family's things, would you put a camera so you can catch them when they did it again, or would you change the locks? What would you do first? Now,
I'll put a camera system in.
okay.
And I'll put a burglar alarm system in. So, I mean, and if you have to rekey the locks, sure, I would think about it.
But you understand, like, this is the
I
public.
do understand.
We
I
have a
do.
responsibility to the
Ms.
public.
Lucy, I do understand, but if you're not gonna change the process of what you're doing, then what makes it not occur again?
But can you understand why the legislative branch wouldn't want, by the way, are there any lost keys, any,
There are a lot of keys unaccounted for.
what is it
Both
called, a
in
skeleton?
legislative and regular keys.
One that
throughout the
opens every doors, or any of those
I
missing?
have to look back to the list, and I can give you a definite answer on that tomorrow, but I think so, yes.
Do we have one to our suite that's missing? Yeah, that's,
Listen, just give me a process so that we don't have it occur again. Let's put cameras in, let's rekey the locks. I'm not against that.
and I will have to say.
But give us a process that, why are you gonna continue doing the same thing if you're not gonna change what you're doing, then.
Well, the change would be, there would be no missing keys, and we would be the ones that had the keys. And secondly, and I will admit this, I'm not comfortable with the administration managing the cameras in the legislative branch because of the separation that's supposed to exist. So, I'm not blaming anyone or saying you're gonna do something. I'm not even suggesting that you're gonna delete it. I just think there needs a separation where someone, and we don't know who that could be, and Josh won't be with us much longer, but what if someone just wanted to peek in and see what's going on in there? It's just not appropriate.
But I think if you position the cameras in a correct manner, you can avoid what you're talking about here. I think if you have the back door that we're talking about, and I'm not sure what it's designed, what it's numbered as, if you had a camera on that outside, you could see all the coming and goings of that one door.
If someone was going into your office every day, what would you do, Josh?
Oh, I would change the locks.
And
I
you
would
put
take
a camera?
precautions. Absolutely, yes. I'd do
And
both.
how many people would you give access to the cameras and the locks?
Not a whole lot.
Okay. Councilman Melvin?
Yes, we all know that there's some missing keys, and if people weren't using, whoever did this, or people or persons were not using their badge, I mean, who uses the badge when your name pops up, right? Somebody has a key. So we need to rekey it. So, Mr. Cantrell, I can appreciate you saying we need to change the system. You need to change the locks, because somebody's got a key. And it looked like an inside job to me if somebody's got a key, or somebody who was on the inside. That is a no-brainer. Change the locks, rekey them, whatever. If they want to put cameras in the hall, I don't know, we can look at that too. We can get a system on keys. We can get an expert. We can talk to the police and say, what's the best way to distribute keys and who has what? And no duplication, you know?
Councilman LaFont?
I would make a suggestion for at least Carlene's office, because Carlene's office, or Reggie's office, the two girls that work in there, and the safe. Nobody has to get in those doors for an emergency escape or anything. Rekey those. Have Miss Carlene have a key, and the chairman of the council. I don't need a key to that office. I don't need a key to Carlene's office. I need a key to my office. That's it, where if I need to meet with somebody. That's it. Give Carlene a key and the chairman a key, and then it's done. Two people have a key. If somebody gets in, it's their responsibility.
Any other questions for Josh? You done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. No other questions for the administration? J, council reports, presentation, updates, and/or questions. Before Mr. Bagalat, well, as he's going to his post, I'd just like to thank Councilman Jones. It's pretty overwhelming when you're a new council member, and there's a lot to figure out. There's a lot to learn, and it's great having a senior councilman that's always willing to take phone calls, and I apologize for, I know I don't speak for just myself, that I'm the only one calling you, but I just want to thank you for all that you do for us, and you're just very much appreciated.
Thank you, Ms. Chairman.
Mr. Bagala.
Good evening. Is this on? Is it on? It's on. I have 4 items to report on tonight.
State your name and address.
I'm sorry, Reggie Bagala, 404 Barataria Street, Lockport. Good evening. I have 4 items to report on tonight. The first one, as of my first report regarding meeting access, we had 5 newspaper articles, 3 editorial opinions, and 2 DA opinions, and I've yet to be offered access to any meetings. Second, on July 11th, I requested to review the most recent vehicular accidents within the risk management file. In these files, there was a report of an accident involving the parish president's vehicle and another on May 22nd, 2017, at 1014 Highway 90 East off Highway 90. There was no police report reported that day, but there was an incident report by the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office reported on June the 12th. In that incident report on June the 12th, the parish president stated that, quote, Mr. Cantrell said that he fixed the damage to his vehicle out of his own pocket. Mr. Cantrell said that he was unaware of the need to file a report with the sheriff's office until he was notified by a parish employee that he had to. Yet on May 23rd, which was the day after the incident, there was a PO issued by finance to pay for the repairs to his vehicle. On page 48 of the Lafourche Parish Government Administrative Policies and Procedures Manual, under reportable events, applies regardless of whether occurring in an agency or personal vehicle while on agency business or on personal time. All employees operating a parish-owned vehicle or parish vehicle while conducting business operations for LPG, irrespective of fault, injury, or damage, must immediately report all accidents to risk management and his or her supervisor. On page 49 under F, reporting procedures. Under these same circumstances, said employee must immediately report all accidents to law enforcement as well. The second requirement, post-accident incident drug testing. Any employee directly involved in any on-duty vehicular accident shall be required to submit to a drug and alcohol test. There was no drug test report in the file from this incident. The third thing, 3 payments to the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office from the animal shelter budget line were made. One for $19,084.04 and $19,451.94 on February 16, 2017, and another on April 27th for $17,681.50. These were for the shared costs between the Lafourche Parish government and the Sheriff's Office under an expired agreement. I'm bringing this to your attention only because these payments should not have been made until a new or updated agreement or CEA between both entities has been approved by this council. The administration was aware that no CEA was in place. And the fourth item, the 2 checks issued to the parish president for his alleged salary adjustment. And as a result of my finding both of these payments made to the parish president on June the 30th, The district attorney asserted that, quote, "at the very least, the monies due back to the taxpayers should be refunded immediately." On July 18th, I requested via email to the administration for verification the funds were returned, if the funds were returned to the taxpayers. I was not given any information on that request, nor have I received any correspondence since that request was made, and we're almost at 4 weeks. That's it.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I requested to have some kind of recreation report. Did you start that?
Yes, I did.
When are you gonna give us a report on that?
I'm going to get it for you. I want to make sure that it's concise. When I do something, I want to make sure it's concise. I did start on that for you, Councilman Lorraine.
And you're supposed to be an auditor, right? Not an inspector general.
Both go hand in hand.
No, you can't be an inspector general. Sorry.
Mr. Jones?
Well, I beg to this, Mr. Lorraine. I think your audit report is great. At least I see you doing an audit report. The last auditor maybe gave 2 or 3 reports. And I'm glad to also see that you're not walking on Main Street shaking a cup of tea. But I got a question. Mr. Cantrell, you had an accident you didn't report?
The accident happened, it's a small accident, happened after 5 o'clock. There was no, next day I reported it the next morning right away. I talked to a lady and she told me what I had to do. She said, you need an incident report, so I called and I got her incident report. She didn't say I had to go get drug tested because what good it would have been was the next day, you know. So, I mean, and then I never said that I paid it from my pocket. I said, we handled it. I don't know where you got that from, but I never said that. And Mr. Barklaw, by the way, if you go back to when you were in that position on the last quarter, you also sent a payment in with one signature on for $19,000, sir. So what do you think the penalty should be for that?
Knowingly is the difference between not knowing, because as soon as I found out that there was no agreement, that's why they stopped. I got a phone call from the sheriff's office asking to share in the cost of some cat traps.
Well,
and I found out that we had no CEA, and the CEA was expired in 2011. And those were not, and a week before I was fired, there was a meeting in that conference room between sheriff's office representatives, myself, and the shelter manager, working on a new CEA. So paying the money is not a problem. It's knowing that there was no agreement in place. When I found out that there was no agreement in place, the payments stopped.
But you did the same thing.
Knowingly is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, knowingly is different.
All right.
So let me get back to my question. You reported one accident.
Yes, sir.
And this happened on Highway 90?
Off of Highway 90. That's what the report said, off of Highway 90.
I got a call about 3 months ago that you had another accident in the parking lot out here.
That's not true.
That you back over a motorcycle.
Oh, no.
So, and we having these accidents not being reported. That's bad. And whether it's after 5 o'clock or not, if you're in a powered vehicle, you have an accident, you're supposed to report it right away. That's what the policy procedure manual said?
Immediately. Must immediately.
And when are you required to go take a drug test? Do you have to go to the hospital right after the accident, or are you supposed to wait till the next day? Because I know if it was an employee, I guess sometimes they send.
I have an example of one right here that there was an employee that had a drug test after an incident, like 4 hours after his incident.
No, but I mean, was it after hours that he ended up, that's what I'm wondering, if, like Mr. Jimmy said, if it was after hours, he had to wait till the next day, which some drugs do stay in your system longer than a few hours. But a regular employee, if they had an accident, right when they were clocking out, and wouldn't they have to go to the hospital or something to do a drug test?
Yes, yeah.
That's what, I'm just wondering, what is the time frame? What does the charter say?
That's an HR question, but yeah, I mean, the policy's vague because all it says is immediately after. There's no time limit.
Well, if it says, and so you talked about how many accidents? Was that one accident? I'm sorry, I got a little lost in all the details. Was it one accident you were saying?
I looked at a few accidents. I looked at the files of a few accidents.
So you're saying Mr. Jimmy had a few
No,
accidents?
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no,
No,
no.
but I'm saying, you, Mr. Jimmy, you're saying had one accident,
Yes.
Mr. Jones
That was
is
reported in
questioning
the
other.
files, yes.
Okay. Mr. Grow?
And I know it's different between public and private, just in my company, if you get an accident, you report it, it may be the next morning to HR, and generally they'll call and say, go get a drug test, and you have so many hours to get it done at a testing center locally wherever you live. We don't make people go to our corporate office. So I would think if it happened at night, I don't think we have
But our
HR on
procedures
call.
book says immediately.
But I don't, I think
I know
that's
with
a
the
gray
city of
area that we
Thibodeau,
should
you-
look at, but I think we don't have an HR person on call at night. I think it would
They're
probably,
not?
I think it would be the next morning. I would
Off
think.
hours, an HR director, a director?
I don't know.
I just know what
I'm
this-
just saying, it sounds gray, but I would think the next day,
No, and it's-
it's just, no drug test was taken at all.
Right,
You
I
know, we shouldn't
understand that.
question the fact that it,
The only reason why I asked him
Time.
specifically was because we have to make some changes to some of these charters, this charter, with some gaping holes we have in it. So that's just gonna be added to the list if I guess we gotta define immediately. That's not the charter, the policies and procedures for.
Policies and procedures.
Okay, well, yeah.
I got another
Councilman
question.
Jones?
What about the checks? That hadn't been paid back yet? Or-
As of, my email went out on July 18th, and I received no response. I mean, I had other requests that I received information on, but nothing on repayment of the monies.
That money hadn't been returned?
Mr. Himmel?
I was on vacation last week. I got a call from administration asking where the checks should be sent to, and I asked that they send it to our payroll person in finance. And she, to my understanding, has received it, sent me an email, showed me the forms where she took that income off when she filed the, second quarter filings. So to my knowledge, yes, the checks were returned. I can get supporting documents for y'all if
Who did
need
you
be.
ask for supporting documentation from? Did you, Mr. Haas,
The
or?
accounting authorities that Mr. Cantrell told me, it's two of the individuals upstairs and himself.
Mr.
Got the
Haas, do
email.
you know about the request?
Yeah, I was informed about the request, Ms. Bozito. The checks had not been returned at the time of the request. They were returned shortly thereafter. There was, we were getting clarification from the DA on exactly how he wanted those returned, considering issues concerning income tax, Social Security tax, and things that came out and are actually at the state, not necessarily in President Cantrell's account.
Well, was those checks deposited?
Yes, they have been deposited now.
Well, can you provide us with a deposit slip from the bank?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'd like to forward that to Mr. Bagala, please.
And who? Mr. Haas, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to add, with the issue of the accident, I went to HR when it was brought to my attention, and we did find one other instance where we had this same problem of an after-hours accident, no drug test. So what we are doing is looking to modify our administrative policy and procedures. We're gonna have to figure out something to make sure we have a 24-hour access reporting line so that this stuff can be expedited like it's supposed to be.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
One other thing for the direct quote I was questioned about, I'll make sure that y'all get the incident report.
Oh, the incident, what's the
The
quote
incident
again?
report that I was questioned by the parish president that said he
Where
never
did that
said-
incident report come
It
from?
came directly from the deputy that took
From the
incident-
police, okay.
From the
it's a-
sheriff's
it's-
office.
And so that's the sheriff's word?
That's
Or the officer?
The investigating officer.
Who's
That was in his report.
Oh, yeah, okay, we definitely need that. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bagala. And can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, hang on a second. Oh, okay, legal advisor. Nobody's here. Okay, now can we get a motion? Wait.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I just want to comment a few things. First, I want to commend Chris Boudreau, employee with the parish, fire chief of Jack Bay, on a very successful convention for the LSFA, Louisiana State Farmers Association, that occurred this past week and weekend. They did an outstanding job. I also want to publicly thank, in front of the administration, Eric Benoit, for his efforts through a couple of 18-wheel incidents in the area over the course of the last few days. I know he had to stay long hours, and he really holds the environmental crews accountable. So I just want to publicly thank him as well.
And I did have, what's his name again? Josh, could you come back up? I just had one more question to ask you. I'm sorry, I didn't do it earlier. You said a door was left. Oh, sorry, name and address for the record. Make sure it's on.
Josh Champagne, Homeland Security Director, Lafourche Parish Government.
Okay, you mentioned a door was left open and people were, which door was that?
It's, actually, the day we went, I met with Ms. Carlene, I believe, to go over and look at the doors. Kind of, we had talked about, we were exchanging emails on kind of trying to get a plan together on this thing. I then went upstairs, I met with Mr. Lasang, who was the administrator at the time, discussed it with him. We came back downstairs to go ahead and look at the doors that me and Ms. Carlene spoke about. And that door, that main door, I guess on the back hallway, like would go to the stairs, was ajar.
And it often is by different people.
Right, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I can't tell you who left it ajar or not. Not her office. Her office was not ajar.
No, I know,
That
but
main
no
ajar.
one was in the offices. You're saying that was,
No, ma'am, no, ma'am.
Okay.
There,
okay.
Miss Pat was in there and another lady was sitting up in there, yes.
Yeah, and that's often not just us.
Right. It's just in the doorway, I guess, to the stairwell.
Okay. What's that?
Right,
Many people use that door, not just us.
right,
All right,
They do leave it open if they go back and forth through.
right. That's what it appears to be.
okay. Thanks, Josh.
All right, sure.
I just want to clear that up.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Council, do we have discussion?
We don't have it, but it's on the agenda.
Q, discussion. Any discussion? Being none. Can I do it now?
Now,
Adjournment. Get a motion to adjourn. Councilman Melvin, second by Councilman Lafont. All in favor? 702 passes at 8:15.